Mail for me.
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Ugh, me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's spectrios.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds and conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Brandon Tatum weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Charlie Kirk at 7. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. The only thing I'm seeing right now is on the south side where 83rd is closed between Ashland and Paulina, and that is due to police activity. Pretty quiet overall on the inbound Eden. You're good to go, no problems. The Kennedy is wide open as you head in from O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 23 minutes, 390 into the post office, so that's moving quickly. Stevenson inbound, not a problem from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Inbound side of the Dan Ryan, that's wide open at 11 minutes, 95th on in. Skyway, I-57 and the Bishop Ford, all of those are clear. On the Tri-State, no complaints. The Jane Addams, the Reagan, and the Veterans Memorial Tollway, all good. So is 8094. This traffic is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Craft University and The Sean Thompson Show when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next, but now check out your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, variable cloudiness and a stray thunderstorm. Humid day, high 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight, low 70. Sunshine, a hot day tomorrow, and the high at 90. And then partly sunny, hot Sunday, high once again 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
The great hunt is on. Donley Auctions has buyers. They need more collections. This is Sean Thompson. If you're a collector, contact them and find out the market value. If you know a collector, tell Donley about them. If they sell it, you get a Donley's Finder fee. Money for you, cash in your pocket. Randy, what are you on the hunt for now?
Hi, Sean. I'm currently looking for any old signs for my August auction. I'm especially looking for old gasoline advertising signs and even gas pumps in any condition. Old soda pop and beer signs are also very sought after, and I even have buyers for old outdoor neon and porcelain signs that advertise a business. You'd be surprised at how much some of these signs are worth, but you won't know how much they're worth until you send me pictures to DonleyAuctions.com.
Do you have any of these items? Call Donley Auctions. Do you know anybody that does have these items? Call Donley and get the Donley's Finder's fee. Donley Auctions, 815-923-7000. Tell them Sean sent you.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss? Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, a family-owned restaurant, a Chicago family favorite for over 40 years. Why? Because they're known for sub sandwiches the size of your forearm. No joke. Their 6-inch sub has more meat and cheese in it than any foot-long in an Irish neighborhood. These sandwiches are iconic, famous for their homemade Italian beef, meatballs, burgers, and, of course, delicious Italian subs loaded with mortadella, cabagol, salami, provolone, and their own secret sauce called Love Potion No. 9. This vinegar and oil dressing is famous on its own. Both Augustino's locations boast walls covered in authentic rock and roll memorabilia and artifacts, all celebrating their love for good old-fashioned rock and roll. Augie's is a feast for your eyes and your stomach. Dine in or carry out. Bring the family or the team. Plus, Augie's caters corporate meetings, parties, and celebrations. Don't make it yourself. Make it happen with Augustino's. Go to Augustinos.com for locations and menus. That's Augustinos.com.
For over 10 years, the award-winning KWCC Construction has been building a better future locally and throughout the Midwest, constructing with detailed planning and execution, completing projects safely, timely, and with transparency. If you've ever visited the Wilder Park Promenade along the Riverwalk in Aurora or driven past the recently revitalized Copley Hospital, you're looking at the quality construction of KWCC. Maybe you've seen the adaptive reuse of 80 South River Street in downtown Aurora, which now includes residences and businesses that have revitalized the area. No matter the project, KWCC Construction offers services from indoors to outdoors, conception to completion. In fact, KWCC was recognized as 2022's Best Project in Landscape and Urban Development. Highly recommended. A general contracting company you can count on. That's KWCC. To request a proposal for your project, visit kwccinc.com. That's kwccinc.com.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
This is Jerry Boyer for Townhall.com. Tractor Supply recently did something remarkable that you may have missed. They pulled out of supporting pride parades and refocused their giving to veterans' causes and agricultural education. They also dropped out of divisive DEI ideologies, which advocate for employees on the basis of race and gender and sexual orientation. Tractor Supply also dropped anti-oil and gas carbon limitation goals. I have never seen such a striking reversal. Left-wing activists warned about backlash, but the day of the announcement, the stock price went up. ESG, environmental, social, and governance investing, has always depended on the myth that its victory is inevitable. But Tractor Supply's decision to do the right thing shatters that myth. They can lose, and if they can lose Tractor Supply, what other companies with conservative customers and liberal corporate governance can also be turned back to sanity?
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance, arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and we begin the show today where we left off yesterday, briefly mentioning that this Italian female fighter, Angela Carini, quit her fight against an Algerian just 46 seconds and 2 blows to the face into the fight. And then, as you see, if you watch the clip, she's like hysterically crying, and there is no moment even after the victor is declared where there is any sort of coming together of the Algerian fighter and this Italian fighter, because as was previewed, the Algerian fighter's a dude.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. She said, this is unjust. That's what she shouted when she slammed her head.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, I'm used to suffering. I've never taken a punch like that. It's impossible to continue.
She, this is the first time, just to set the table, first time in history the IOC has permitted 2 athletes whose sex, they say, is unclear. Although, again, both of the men fighting as women in the women's boxing competition were prohibited from fighting in a international women's boxing competition in 2023 because it was determined that, the chromosomes are XY.
Yeah, they failed their gender eligibility test. And shame on the IOC spokesperson. You know what he told publications yesterday, reporters who were asking? He said, are you ready for this? They're women on their passports, end quote. They are, because they say that they feel they're not transitioning. They both still have their penises. They haven't gotten breast implant. They haven't done the hormones, but they just both put that they're females on their passports.
If their government says so, that's good enough for us. I've never been hit so hard in my life. Until the end, I fought with blood in my eyes because I wanted this victory at all costs just for my father. Her father recently passed away. And, I mean, she didn't go down, but obviously I take her at her word. I've never been hit so hard in my life. You know, this is nothing new for us in America because, of course, we've seen this at UFC. And shame on Dana White, the much celebrated Dana White, because he's, a Trump flack from time to time. And he featured at the convention, all this stuff. Dana White has allowed men to beat up women in the UFC.
She dropped out before she got a serious injury. So do we need a female boxer to be beaten so badly that they could die for something to change?
And it's the same question we asked years ago with UFC. And the answer is, nobody cares. Although it is interesting. I don't know, you never know when a moment's going to come with these things.
Right.
And this moved around the world quickly because there's a lot of attention being paid to the Olympics, understandably. And so quickly that Trump essentially mentioned it at his rally in Washington, Michigan.
The party of American women and American children, and we will protect women in sports. Women in sports. And not allow men to enter into the women's game.
So it's one of those cultural issues that many people say don't talk about, just focus on immigration and inflation, maybe throw in something about lowering tax rates. But no, it's something that people, again, viscerally understand and have a immediate opinion about. And this is where lines should be drawn because there's, of course, a real contrast here, not just between the two parties, but between the two candidates. Trump is not exact. He's, had some dalliances. You remember he wouldn't care if Bruce Jenner used the women's bathroom at one of his hotels. Problem is that, and this is where it started. Remember, we had this in Illinois with Bruce Rauner. It's okay. Men identifying as women can use the bathrooms. We famously did a commercial in part about that.
And people lost their minds on that one.
On behalf of Jeannie Ives against Bruce Rauner, right? Because Ives and we were way ahead of the learning curve. See, that's the problem is once you begin with this lie that men can just identify as women and metamorphosize magically into women, once you begin with that lie, then where do you say, oh, no, it's just bathrooms? Oh, well, no, I'm sorry, you said I was a woman, so now I can do anything any other woman can do. As that activist famously said on The Daily Show, and I agree with him, you either believe that a trans woman is a woman or you don't. You either believe that a man pretending to be a woman is a woman or you don't. Right, I don't, and they do. And so does Kamala. And she'll make you pay for it. Going to the Kamala vault, Kamala being interviewed by a dude pretending to be a woman on the state of California paying for dude prisoners to become pretend women prisoners.
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right, a client of the Attorney General.
A client of the Attorney General,
right.
Of the Office of Attorney
General.
Okay,
honey.
That they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Corrections.
This Olympic spokesperson that I spoke of, Mark Adams, he went on to say this. Are you ready? It's not helpful to start stigmatizing people who take part in a sport. We all have a responsibility to dial this down or not turn it into some kind of witch hunt.
It's not a witch hunt. It's nobody's wishing any ill will to the men pretending to be women. Just saying you shouldn't be fighting women. What's the witch hunt about that?
Clearly, that was a dude punching a woman in the face.
Yeah.
And he's going to play again today, and then he's going to go for gold on Saturday in the women's boxing competition.
Larry in Elmhurst, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Hey, for fair play, I'd like to see Chris Cyborg fight Dylan Mulvaney just to make it a little bit even.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the call, Larry. Mark, Southside.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. You know what? I don't understand why there wasn't this outrage from the very beginning with the swimming. The reason this is being brought to attention right now is because it's a contact sport. And the Republicans should really take advantage of this because all the Democrats, or most of them, support the transgender thing with the males competing with the females. And they should say, I guess you guys support a man beating up a woman because that's exactly what's going on here.
Right. Thanks for the call, Mark. I mean, this is why, for example, Riley Gaines encourages women to just not participate. I mean, that's the other thing, too. I mean, I understand these women, like this Italian fighter, have their Olympic dream. But at some point, and I think that's the only point where it comes to a head, like that high school track and field team, that shot put team, that all, when the man was competing against them, a boy pretending to be a girl was competing against them, they just went up and basically, when it was their turn, just dropped a shot put right in front of them to protest and basically say, we're not participating. Until there's more of that, you're going to hear these absurd, love and inclusion statements from people like that IOC spokesman, and you're going to see women be hurt or denied opportunity. It's just the way it is. We've been saying it for many years now, actually.
But she was crying. I mean, she fell to her knees and started crying.
You're going to translate that for us?
My father taught me to be a warrior. I've always stepped into the ring with honor, and I've always served my country with loyalty. When she was crying, I was bawling. Like, look at what a clown show this world is. Look at that this world has become the Olympics. Shame on them.
Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Oh, hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Thanks a lot for taking my call. In the past, with things between men and women, there were laws made. I don't remember what Title IX, Title something, whatever, to protect women from, or make fairness. Why is there not some kind of a lawsuit here where all of a sudden, why don't the women have their rights to take and have their sports, to have their bathrooms? I don't see how this can't be a legal thing in some way and be successful to take and fight for women. Because it's so unfair, and it really is. I got 2 girls. I mean, this thing ever happened to one of my girls, I don't know what I'd do.
Thanks for the call, Craig. Well, where is the community of nations, favorite phrase, to come together to pressure the IOC after this to not suborn such incidents of men fighting women? Well, the West is nowhere to be found because the West lost its mind. And so this is what happens. By the way, not everyone in the West has lost their minds, including Olympic athletes. An Australian swimmer who so far has won a gold and silver medal, Ariarne Titmus is her name.
Yeah.
She slammed the quote-unquote eco-friendly Olympic Village as ridiculous. It's not set up for high performance. It probably wasn't the time. She said it's definitely not made for high performance. It's about who can really keep it together in the mind. Several athletes have been blasting the organizers for their quote-unquote sustainable living quarters, which included polythene mattresses and cardboard beds, no air conditioning. This had been also sort of predicted and talked about in the run-up to the Paris Games, and now some athletes are living through it, and they're not quite enjoying it, and some have the courage to speak out about the stupidity of it all.
And they're posting it on their Instagram. You could see their living conditions, or lack thereof, anything normal. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 5:38, BLM Brandon has some words about President Trump's comments at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention the other day. We'll have those at 5:38.
And J.D. Vance's wife, she's Indian. He spoke as well. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Good morning. It's 71 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I am Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Chance for some showers this morning, then turning partly cloudy, high near 83. A federal judge is sentencing a Chicago man to 40 years in prison for sex trafficking children. Prosecutors say Lenny Perry trafficked at least 7 children under the age of 18. Perry used websites such as Backpage and Facebook to advertise commercial sex acts for money and recruited the young victims to work for him. He arranged for the victims to meet individuals for the commercial sex acts in hotels and homes in Illinois, Minnesota, and Mississippi. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin is pushing legislation to fund future quantum research at the U.S. Department of Energy. Durbin and fellow U.S. Senator Steve Daines introduced a measure that would advance the country's capacity to invest in quantum information science and research and development. The measure would authorize $2.5 billion in funding over the next 5 years. The Champaign Police Department is revealing the results of a traffic safety campaign last month. The speed enforcement effort was conducted by local and state law enforcement agencies in an effort to reduce speeds and increase safety on our streets. In Champaign, police issued 46 citations and 2 written warnings for speeding and 1 felony arrest and illegal gun recovery. News is a service of Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of App Properties, Christie's International Real Estate, experts in the northwest suburbs and Chicago. With over $800 million in sales, you'll get the most value for your home. Call 708-828-0000. Again, 708-828-0000. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
It has been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years.
The worst president in the history of our country.
The best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
We have a new victim to defeat.
She's tough. She's capable.
Lion Kamala Harris.
What happens next happens here.
Kamala Harris has been the ultra-liberal driving force behind every single Biden catastrophe.
We face a choice.
This is your breaking news and election station. AM 560. The Answer.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute a 501c in your estate or legacy planning.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large envelope to Northbrook?
We can deliver that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
This is Jerry Boyer for townhall.com. Tractor Supply recently did something remarkable that you may have missed. They pulled out of supporting pride parades and refocused their giving to veterans' causes and agricultural education. They also dropped out of divisive DEI ideologies, which advocate for employees on the basis of race and gender and sexual orientation. Tractor Supply also dropped anti-oil and gas carbon limitation goals. I have never seen such a striking reversal. Left-wing activists warned about backlash, but the day of the announcement, the stock price went up. ESG, environmental, social, and governance investing, has always depended on the myth that its victory is inevitable. But Tractor Supply's decision to do the right thing shatters that myth. They can lose, and if they can lose Tractor Supply, what other companies with conservative customers and liberal corporate governance can also be turned back to sanity?
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Their video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. South side 83rd remains closed either way between Ashland and Paulina. Again, that is due to police activity. Little tight westbound I-80 at Hobolt Road with an accident off to the right shoulder. On the inbound Edens, though, still good. Lake Cook Road to Montrose. Kennedy inbound side, only 17 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, while the Eisenhower moving quickly from 390 into the post office. Inbound Stevenson, not bad, 355 on in. The inbound Rhine, only a 12-minute trip, 95th on in. Skyway, I-57 and the Bishop Ford all clear. DuSable Lakeshore Drive looks good north and south. Tri-State, Jane Addams, Reagan, and the Veterans Memorial Tollways All of those are moving quickly. Traffic is a service of In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His Word each Sunday morning right here, AM 560, The Answer. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, variable cloudiness. We could pick up a stray thunderstorm, a humid day, high 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight, and the low 70. It'll be sunny and hot tomorrow, the high Saturday at 90. Partly sunny, hot Sunday, and the high 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by IDT. Eliminate paper files with the IoT Smart Connected Scanning Device. Find them at ready4IDT.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. And so the D.C. Press Corps, its regional outlets across the country, and every politician on the left, up and down the food chain, trying to sustain the swirl and outrage, the indignation over some of Trump's comments in the direction of Kamala Harris and Black Americans from the National Association of Black Journalists Convention the other day that we talked about at length yesterday. And so everybody wants to get on in the act, and I say good. Keep it going.
Did you see?
Keep it going.
What Trump tweeted? Not tweeted, but on Truth Social. Thank you, Kamala, for the nice picture you sent from many years ago. Your warmth, friendship, and love of your Indian heritage are very much appreciated. And it's her mom and it looks like other ancestors.
Yeah, that's been going around.
Saris and
that's been going.
But he's
around.
owning it. He's not walking away from it by any means, as he shouldn't.
No, he's doubling down, which is what he's want to do, and so it provides the opening to press some of these issues and, frankly, watch the race hustlers race hustle. It's not as attractive to the general public as I think some conservatives think. Some conservatives are very concerned. Don't be talking about these things. Don't say these things. Don't get into it. Again, stick to inflation and border security and so forth. No, I like to hear from the Brandon Johnsons of the world. I like to platform their deep thoughts and challenge people on what he has to say with respect to whom they affiliate.
But he ran into blackness. And he felt it. He felt the heat, the unconditional love, the masterpiece of the black woman that only an amazing God can take an Indian and a Jamaican and create somebody in his image, a black woman.
What is that?
He ran into the black woman.
He ran into the blackness.
He ran into the blackness. The masterpiece of the black woman. I like black women just as much as anybody else. But is that what happened on that stage? He ran into blackness. 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line. Are you starting to feel better when you listen to absurd, pandering statements from people like BLM Brandon, who, by the way, has a black wife and 3 black kids at home he's raising?
I don't, and they have soccer. They have soccer games on Saturday.
Do you see what I'm saying about the opportunities here that Trump essentially foments with comments that, he's creating controversy, he's talking about race, you can't talk about race. No, everybody says you can, and not only can you, you must. So he did, and now we're hearing from the race hustlers. And again, the BLM Brandons, I'm sorry Sheila Jackson Lee isn't around because we'd be hearing from her too. Al Sharptons and all the full retinue of MSNBC and CNN contributors and race hustlers of the present time as well as of the past. Let's hear from them all. Ran into blackness. Did he? Or did he just run into very contrived political hacks masquerading as journalists? I'm talking about Rachel Scott specifically, not so much the other panelists, obviously, particularly Harris Faulkner, who was much more responsible. But Rachel Scott, this was her moment. And so forget even the discussion of Kamala's race or heritage. The black jobs thing, that was the real tell. This anodyne term that has been used a lot by a lot of people for a long time. But when Trump uses it, it somehow instantly becomes some outrageous characterization of black people who have jobs or black people who want jobs, or it just transforms into a dog whistle when Trump says something that black, white, brown, whoever just say sort of in normal parlance when talking about job creation or employment statistics or what have you. It's the celebration parallax. This is a term from Michael Anton, and I really love this. The celebration parallax. The celebration parallax holds that the same fact pattern is either true and glorious or false and scurrilous, depending on who states it. So if Brandon Johnson says black jobs, yes, he's standing up for black jobs. He's trying to create black jobs, trying to create opportunity in the black community. Donald Trump says it, white supremacist.
What exactly is a black job?
George in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, Dan, I think our Chicago's mayor is trying to be the Willy Wonka of chocolate cities.
And there you go. Thanks for the call, George. Yeah, Chocolate City. I mean, you're a little bit more comfortable with what, as I said, a little bit more comfortable with what Trump had to say on that panel at the National Association of Black Journalists. J.D. Vance, who is also trying to raise a wife of color and 3 children of color at home.
They're Indian, yes.
Yeah. He had this to say about it. Of course, he's pressed on it, too. You know, you have to be outraged because, no.
The former president's comments yesterday to the National Association of Black Journalists, where he said that Vice President Harris is, quote, all of a sudden black. As a father of 3 biracial children, did those comments give you pause at all?
They don't give me pause at all. Look, all he said is that Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She goes to Georgia 2 days ago. She was raised in Canada. She puts on a fake Southern accent. She is everything to everybody, and she pretends to be somebody different depending on which audience she's in front of. I think it's totally reasonable for the president to call that out, and that's all he did. I mean, look, she's running as a tough-on-crime prosecutor, even though she implemented open border policies. She's saying that she wants to support the police, yet she wanted to defund the police just 3 years ago. It's totally reasonable to call out the fact that she pretends to be somebody different depending on the audience she's talking to.
That is a perfect answer.
Well, all she wants is one thing.
She wants freedom.
That's right. Now,
we should tell that story again.
Now J.D. Vance is someone to go to say, oh, that must have been so hurtful. Yeah. Because you're the father of 3 biracial children. Your wife is of Indian of Indian extraction. She's an Indian American. Oh, that must have been so hurtful. 5 minutes earlier, J.D. Vance is being excoriated for his comments about. Basically about the leadership of the Democrat Socialist Party. That's what he's talking about. He's also talking about family structure, the comments that have been swirling. Again, scurrilous outrage. So 5 minutes earlier, and you have the punditry and the pretend journos. I mean, they're interchangeable. He just wants more white kids. Now there's a recognition that he is in a biracial marriage and his kids are biracial. But before it was J.D. Vance, white supremacist, when he's talking about more kids and politicians that should have kids if they're going to be in leadership positions in America. He just wants more white kids. He doesn't want more. But didn't that hurt? I mean, false and scurrilous. That should be that actually should be like Crowley and Company. That should be the name of these shows, false and scurrilous.
Well, doesn't Kamala realize that she's sounding Southern when she goes to places like Atlanta? I mean, here she is the other night.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Was that Kamala Harris or Fani Willis? Indistinguishable. Right. This is the point, this is an opportunity to package this up as a branding of Kamala Harris as the phony that she is. She is radical left, but only because she's a cipher for the radical left. They are trying to do this Obama thing with her where it's just, it's all smiles. And
no questions from the media. It's been 12 days now, and she hasn't taken one question.
All smiles, appeals to I'm for the people. I'm for freedom. I'm for good stuff, and I'm against bad stuff. Essentially, put a good face on the new Bolshevism that dominates that party. She's supposed to be the face person for this ugliness, just the same way Obama was the face person for the burgeoning radical left in 2008.
And she is more left than Bernie Sanders. And I'm old enough to remember this was 18 days ago.
She is not more left than Bernie Sanders. Let's understand that statement. Yeah, she's rated by GovTrack as the most leftist senator in the Senate when she was there. She's not more left than him. She is the representative of the Bernie Sanders bros and sisses in the Senate. She's a cipher. She's not the intellectual leader. She's not a committed communist. She's a cipher who will front for the communists, which is the new Bolsheviks. That's exactly what Barack Obama did. That's what's happening. That's who she is. If she is sort of what Joe Biden was, but she doesn't have the period in her history where the party was more moderate on some of these issues, all of these issues, for which no moderation is tolerated. And so she doesn't have in her background statements that would say, well, she said this here and that there, so her positions have evolved. Her positions haven't evolved because this is where the party's been for as long as she's been in public office, and so this is where she has been. And she understood or gambled that being the most outspoken and taking these issues the farthest and being the nastiest at Senate confirmation hearings was the path to notoriety and thus elevation. And so far, with some serendipity, it's worked for her. That's who she is. And that's what she's doing.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Guevalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Keene Jr. of the Mail House, Inc., a family-owned and operated digital print mail house with a specialty in political advertising and a customer of Signature Bank. We knew that getting a loan to buy our business wouldn't be easy, so we turned to one of our trusted friends for a referral. She told us about the outstanding level of customer service her business received at Signature Bank since becoming one of their first customers in 2006. Today, we couldn't be happier. Not only did Signature help us finance the purchase of the mail house, but they supported our growth as we modernized our operations in mailing as well as from traditional to digital printing. If you're looking for a great bank to grow your business, take a look at Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, just continuing on the conversation about the Kamala racket, if you will, and how she's positioned herself and who she really is and what role she plays for the new Bolshevik. There was one exception to what I said about her always being a cipher for the new Bolsheviks, because for her time in federal office, they've dominated the parties. So she is the face girl for the party, trying to be, auditioning to be, now is. And it was, the path to that was to be a flack for those new Bolsheviks, the way that AOC is, but of course doesn't have sort of the standing or the backing. And
they've dumped threat to democracy. Now it's freedom in the future.
So there's one exception to that, and it's if you recall, her dalliance with Jim Lankford, the Republican senator from Oklahoma, in promoting the use of paper ballots back before the 2020 election. She promoted paper ballots. Kamala Harris did. Russia can't hack a paper ballot. This was her way to continue to promote, Russia hacked the 2016 election and so forth. But nonetheless, it was, paper ballots. But then that quickly turned, and so did she. Then when Republicans tried to push that measure or other measures, all of a sudden they were election deniers, right?
Right.
After 2020, they're election deniers. She was doing it to promote the Russian hack the election in collusion with Trump, but she nonetheless was talking paper ballots, but it was specific to the interests of the new Bolsheviks at the time. And once that changed, so did she. Then it became this Kamala Harris.
Is agreeing to voter ID one of those compromises that you'd support?
I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't, there's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
What in the...
This is the famous, farmers don't have access to fax machines moment.
So insulting.
In opposition to voter ID laws.
The richest people in the world are farmers.
People have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it impossible to prove who they are. You mean by getting a driver's license? What? These are the lengths that she'll go to be that face girl. Tim in Woodstock, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Thanks for taking my call. Brandon Johnson in his comments, if he played that clip, what I heard was that he's talking about the beauty of the black woman, so that's good.
Yeah.
But he says only God can take a Jamaican father and an Indian mother and create a black woman. And it's like all he sees is the black part. It's like the beauty of it is that she's a mixture of the two. And I think what Donald Trump was trying to do the other day, well, maybe he didn't express it as well as he should have, was that he's tired, and I think that a lot of people in the country are tired of people pandering to one part of their nationality, depending on what group that they're in front of that day. And the beauty of it is that she's a mixture of the two, and that's what America is. And leave it to Brandon Johnson to just bring it to the one, just to see black. I'm sorry, that's
exactly.
That's
Thanks
the way
for
I see it.
Exactly. Thanks for the call, Tim. And I think that's the way a lot of other people see it too. And that's why I say that the one thing I want more than anything is for the race hustlers to continue their hustle, because I think most people who are fair-minded see it for what it is.
When do you think this honeymoon's going to be over, though? This honeymoon period.
The D.C. press corps, they are in service of Kamala Harris.
So
it's never going to be over. That's built into the price. We know what we have to do, and so does the Trump campaign. It doesn't matter who the candidate is. Coming up at 6:06, David Marcus's conversion story. Very interesting. 6:06.
Today, 40% chance of rain, hot and humid. It's now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
From Russia to Texas, I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's where 3 Freedom Americans landed a few hours ago.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm home. Yeah. I'm never going back there again.
That's Paul Whelan, who called his spy conviction in Russia and years in prison their nonsense. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich also set free after his spy conviction.
What about the show of support? It's over here. Yeah, it's overwhelming.
A Radio Free Europe journalist also hugged her family when landing in the U.S. Also, Kamrasheva, a 4th American set free in the prisoner swap with Russia. Vladimir Kara-Murza, convicted of treason, opted to be sent to Germany.
It took many months of negotiations behind the scenes to pull off one of the largest, most complex prisoner swaps in U.S. history. It involves 24 people and 7 countries. 16 detainees held in Russia are being exchanged for 8 Russians being freed from the U.S., Germany, Norway, Slovenia, and Poland.
Fox's Chanley Painter, one of the freed Russians, was convicted of assassinating a Chechen leader in Germany. Now, President Biden said, greeting the freed Americans when they first landed last night at Joint Base Andrews.
To me, this is about the essence of who we are as a country.
Former President Trump reacted to the prisoner swap.
As usual, it was a win for Putin or any other country that deals with us, but we got somebody back, so I'm never going to be challenging that.
Now, he also tells Fox Business's Maria Bartiromo giving Russia a convicted assassin and other prisoners back for simply taking Americans into custody sets bad precedent.
You start doing that, and all of a sudden you have a lot of hostages taken.
The former president's new rival and presumptive Democratic nominee, Vice President Harris, is flush with cash after raising $310 million in July, the most in a month in presidential history. The Harris campaign says 2/3 of the money came from first-time donors. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 72 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Chance for showers this morning, then turning partly cloudy, high near 83. U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth is leading an effort to strengthen police accountability and transparency following last month's deadly shooting of Sonia Massey. The Hoffman Estates Democrat is leading a group of colleagues in reintroducing legislation that encourages improved training for police officers and the use of independent investigation and prosecution to eliminate inherent conflicts of interest. Duckworth's reintroduction of her Police Training and Independent Review Act comes after former Deputy Sean Grayson shot and killed Massey in her home on July 6th. Grayson is charged with murder in the incident. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich wants to interview Vladimir Putin. Upon his release from Russia after the U.S. prisoner swap, Gershkovich had to fill out a request for presidential clemency addressed to Putin. In the last line of the form, Gershkovich asked if Putin would be willing to sit down for an interview after his release. One person is hurt following a stabbing in Peoria. Police say a man was found stabbed last night near Livingston and Humboldt Streets. His injury is considered non-life threatening. Officers are searching for a suspect. A man is going to prison for a long time for a deadly shooting last year outside a meat market in Rockford. William Jones was sentenced to 55 years behind bars this week. Police say Jones shot and killed Peggy Anderson while robbing her in a building that houses Pinion's Foods. The Democratic National Convention is reportedly being retooled since Vice President Kamala Harris has become a Democratic presidential candidate. The Chicago Sun-Times reports that the revamp involves moving away from the heavy use of pre-taped footage and instead doing more of the convention live. The intent is to focus on the enthusiasm and energy generated by Harris's campaign. President Joe Biden has been confirmed as the keynote speaker on the opening night of the convention, August 19th. Other scheduled speakers that night include Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, and Illinois Senators Tammy Duckworth and Dick Durbin. News is a service of Team Hochberg. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates and service. Let Team Hochberg help you by visiting 56david.com or call 855-563-2843. That's 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender. NMLS 1124061. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Charlie Kirk doesn't hear a reason.
Listen carefully. He does not tell you why. Now, we think we know why. Is it poll numbers? Was it threats? Was it intimidation? Was it they go after your kids? What is it, Joe Biden? He won't tell you. Is Joe Biden really going that willingly? And does Joe Biden harbor resentment?
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! And call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of consumer cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the road, still wide open. On the inbound Edens, no troubles. The Kennedy looks good heading in from O'Hare to downtown. Also, it's clear on the Eisenhower 390 into the post office, but starting to back up a bit on the inbound Stevenson. That delay from Ashland into the Dan Ryan at 25 minutes in from 355. Inbound Ryan is fine. No troubles on the Skyway, I-57 or the Bishop Ford. DuSable Lakeshore Drive still clear north and south. Tri-State northbound slowing right around the Reagan, and that is due to road work in that area. Westbound I-80, an accident on the shoulder at Hobolt. And then Humboldt to River Road slowing as well. That is all due to construction. The good news is the other tollways are moving along freely. Traffic is a service of the AM 560 Advantage. Membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets, exclusive contest opportunities, and special members-only content. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. But now check out your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, variable cloudiness and a stray thunderstorm. Humid day, high 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight, low 70. Sunshine, a hot day tomorrow, and the high at 90. And then partly sunny, hot Sunday, high once again 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I want to get to our friend David Marcus's conversion story. I really was not aware of this. David Marcus, who's a writer. I think he was formerly Silicon Valley, but a writer. He wrote a book about COVID and the lockdowns. Seen his stuff, New York Post, Federalist. We've had him on the show many times. But there's a conversion story to Trump, though, that is relatively recent to hear Marcus tell it. So I want to get to that. But it is worth noting that our very own Jelly Belly. These are exciting times for Illinois because our very own Jelly Belly is still very much in the running. That's what the reporting is, very much in the running to be Kamala's running mate. I guess she is having trouble getting Mark Kelly to do it.
Well, don't rule him out. He's been very humbled by this experience, Dan. I want you to know. He was on MSNBC, and his sources are telling Marianne Ahern that they've had 2 meetings with 2 Zoom calls with Kamala and her people, and one lasted a few hours, and he's still in it. He's still being considered.
Yeah, no,
is he the backup plan? Do you think he's plan B or plan C?
Well, it's been a couple of Zoom calls. Here's how one of them went.
Good evening, folks. My name is Charlotte Clymer. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a writer and activist, and I am so excited to be part of this historic gathering of women across the country. Now, look, I'm not going to repeat to y'all what the brilliant and eloquent women have stated before me. And nor do I have the eloquence and brilliance of the women who are going to speak over the remainder of the evening. I'm just going to tell y'all a quick story about why I proudly support Vice President Harris.
So, I mean, Charlotte Clymer is his alter ego. Mitt Romney has Pierre Delecto. He has Charlotte Clymer. So he's been on the Zoom calls doing his part to carry the flag for Kamala.
And Shapiro canceled his weekend events. The governor of Pennsylvania, but so did the governor of Minnesota as well. So I don't know if you want to read into the tea leaves what that means.
No, I don't care.
But I think Mark Kelly, I don't think he should take it, and I don't think he's going to. And Shapiro, sadly, is Jewish. For them, that's a problem, that's why I say it's sad. So I don't know. And Pritzker's got the money.
You'd hate to lose him because this is the one state where this is the one state that Democrats actually have some affinity for him. So you'd hate to lose him. I mean, that's according to the polling of all these erstwhile aspirants to the VP. Are they really aspirants, or is it really Kamala who's aspiring to get somebody that would add value to the ticket? I'd love to see JB on a national stage. It better be reinforced. David Marcus, who I mentioned, he wrote the book Charade, The COVID Lies That Crushed the Nation. So it gives you a pretty good idea where he was coming from on that. This was a really interesting post. This is, because I didn't really know this. This is posted this week, just a couple days ago.
Piqued my interest, Dan.
I'm crossing the Rubicon and backing the Republican Party and President Trump. I didn't have him as a never Trumper, but I thought he was sort of a lukewarm Trumper, as many are, but apparently not until recently. It's very interesting how he explains the
The transformation?
Well, I don't know if it's a transformation, but the change of heart on the issue of the presidency. Many, including a former version of myself, get trapped in a mental framework that becomes their identity and prevents them from radically evolving their thinking with new facts and information. I finally broke free from it. Boy, there's a statement. There's a statement. How many people in your circles of life fit this? Get trapped in a mental framework that becomes their identity and prevents them from radically evolving their thinking with new facts and information. And I'm not just speaking solely about Trump here. That's a statement. My journey going back to Marcus, my journey has been a gradual political 180 from where I stood in every previous election. It's been an eye-opening process of disenchantment, zero-basing lifelong beliefs, and rebuilding from there. Well, it's a deep dive from Marcus. If only more people were so reflective. In 2017, a good friend enlisted me to pitch the DNC to raise $100 million from Silicon Valley founders and execs. The aim was to use these funds and know-how to build a CRM and tech platform to prevent a repeat of Hillary Clinton's inadequate, outdated 2016 campaign. We met with DNC leadership, who told us we could raise the money, but it would have to go to the general fund. A single-digit percentage would then be allocated to tech. In the wake of one of the most shocking failures, they didn't want the help. The next series of realizations began in 2019 when I was at Meta. And I didn't know Marcus worked at Meta. Right after we announced the Libra white paper, I testified before the Senate and this is the crypto. I testified before the Senate and the House and subsequently spent significant time in D.C. engaging with lawmakers, cabinet members, regulators, and 2 White House administrators. At the time, I still believe the mainstream idea that Democrats were all about serving the people. This is 5 years ago. However, I was shocked to learn that for the most part, Republicans cared more deeply about their constituents, while Democrats, in my experience, cared more about government power and control. This is my observation on balance, with many stories to back it up. I also found that more Republicans wanted to understand our project's goals and took the time to learn about the risks of censoring payments and controlling the network. I found myself remarkably aligned with them. Then COVID came, revealing more. While I don't subscribe to the most malicious vaccine conspiracy theories, I do take offense at the censorship machine put in place to hide the origin of the virus from the NIH-founded Wuhan lab and all dissenting voices on vaccinations and lockdowns. At the time, I fully appreciated why Republicans value freedom of speech and preventing censorship. This trend of spinning and manufacturing a parallel reality to serve the Dem agenda, solidified by complicit mainstream media, hit home with the Hunter Biden laptop story. And he goes on to say, on the domestic front, there has been a total departure from the core American value system of meritocracy. Talking about DEI, of course. On the foreign policy, the administration is exacerbating tensions with Russia through an aggressive NATO expansion narrative focused on Ukraine and prolonging an unwinnable war. I believe we need a president who is unequivocally pro-America, the Constitution, business, crypto, innovation, Israel, small government, legal immigration, free speech, meritocracy, and common sense, and anti-regulatory proliferation, illegal immigration, unjust wars, Iran's current regime, and the domestic groups that oppose American values. Some claim re-electing President Trump will bring our democracy to its knees. However, the alternative, having unelected individuals with this much power and no accountability run our government, coupled with 4 more years of bad policies at home and abroad, might present a more significant threat. In this pivotal moment, confronted with the choices we have, I'm endorsing and supporting a return to a Republican administration. David Marcus. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Bring the story in part because we're all the, honkies for Kamala going on, and somebody said they were going to leaning Trump, but now they're leaning Kamala. All these anecdotes about how there's so much Kamala momentum out there. I don't think so.
And they, David Marcus joins crypto Republicans. They're their own class now, the crypto Republicans. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, it's, okay, fine. He has a particular interest and affinity and for cryptocurrency. Oh, okay. Um, I mean, usually it's, that's the crypto Republican is like crypto fascist, not cryptocurrency. That's the way it's usually described. That's the way I've been often described in the Chicago press corps. But yeah, I just, so my point is to say these conversion stories like David Marcus. Now, Marcus is a thoughtful guy, clearly. And even for him, I mean, think about how naive David Marcus was just a few years ago. He had to have these interactions with members of Congress for the scales to fall about an issue he cared about and an interest that he was representing, for the scales to fall from his eyes. And even then, it took another 5 years before he brought himself all the way around to support Trump in this moment. That's the struggle. I mean, that's why you say that you're always in the business of providing information for the purposes of persuasion business, not propagandizing, but providing information, challenging beliefs. You always have to be doing that. It's relentless. You always have to borrow from David Mamet. You always have to be closing. Always be closing. Because it just, for a lot of people, even smart people, they get trapped, quoting Marcus again, great phrase, get trapped in a mental framework that becomes their identity and prevents them from radically evolving their thinking with new facts and information. It takes a while for them to break free. Look how long it took for David Marcus to break free. And he's pretty sharp.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us at that same number.
Anybody in your life with a conversion story, since you want to hang around with the people who are trapped in a mental framework that becomes their identity and prevents them from radically evolving their thinking with new facts and information? That sounds like your entire friend group.
Well, I do have a few friends, and we have these, secret chat groups on our phones where we talk back and forth. But the only thing that I've noticed is this love now for Kamala Harris, and like people are putting up Biden Harris. Well, they don't have a Biden. They'll put up a Harris sign in front of their house because they had to take down the Biden Harris because it was so last week. But no, nothing. It's hard to convert, and I don't know. I just feel so helpless. I want to do something. We have 96 more days till the election. What can we do?
No, a buddy of mine who's a member at Olympia, we were talking about it yesterday. He signed up to be an election counter or a ballot counter in Milwaukee.
Okay.
I mean, and he lives here.
Right. Oh no, I've had liberal friends go to their election judges in Milwaukee.
Well, I understand.
They drive up to Wisconsin, but he's doing something about it.
That's what the left is. But my friend is on the side of wanting to ensure the integrity of the election, not undermine it. That's the difference. So I'm looking for conversion stories in our direction, or if you want to do something in our direction, then this is an example of something you could do. But it's also what is say all the time. Don't try to save the world or convince the world. Just within people that you are in community with, that you have relationships with, because you have influence in those circles that, that pundits on TV and talk show hosts on the radio don't have. So
I did
focus
go
there.
To Utah this summer with Eli and 4 of his friends, and I am taking 3 of them to register to vote and to vote on election day. And they're all minorities, and they all love Trump. I let them tell me what they loved about Trump. And their lives financially were better. Their parents' lives were better with Trump in office. And that means something to them. Like, we don't just have to vote, because everybody thinks since I'm black that I'm a Democrat. I said, very true. I know a lot of Republicans who are minorities. And you don't have to, because they're raised that way in the schools. They're telling them, if you're a minority, if you're underprivileged, if you're not,
right,
you need to be a Democrat because we care about people and Republicans don't. And there's a lot of philanthropic Republicans out there that donate money and care. So we have to stop that stigma.
Yeah, well, it's so obvious to me, so I get tired of saying it, and it's remarkable. But this Marcus story just hit me as like, wow, if David Marcus wasn't seeing it until that recently, I'm like, oh, that it shows you how entrenched the mentality is. Solidarity and marginality. That's their play every day, all day. They're doing the work every day because that's how often you have to do it. So Kamala told me that. But solidarity and marginality. You're a marginalized part of a marginalized population. You're a victim. You've been slighted. You're hated. This and that. And so we come together, and this is how you get Queers for Palestine. The solidarity that comes with being perceived, a perceived part of a marginalized community. And if we band together, we can overcome. So it's the combination of getting recognition and identity, but also a mission, and a mission that you'll overcome by getting some politician elected. So it's sort of this false sense of accomplishment. I mean, it's not that complicated what they do, because you're dealing with a lot of people who are also not that complicated and incredibly susceptible to something that is very uncomplicated, to close the logical loop there.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, isn't Pritzker Jewish too? Or is he?
He is.
He is. He's a Ukrainian Jewish person. And
he is Jewish. Not only is he Jewish, and he doesn't want to really platform this, but he is very supportive of the state of Israel too.
Oh.
So he's not as outspoken about it because, he's a coward and everything is political posturing for him because he's another cipher. I can see why Kamala has affinity for him, because they're two ciphers. She puts a better face on it than he does, of course. But that's what they are. They're both ciphers for the radical left, and financiers of it in Pritzker's case. But yeah, that he is very muted about it, but that's a very real position he has. And so it's a very real problem he still has, which is why the sort of house smart money has been on Mark Kelly, number one, and Tim Walz, number two, from Minnesota, as the betting favorites to be VP. But if she can't get one of those two to do it, you may have to run the gauntlet with a Pritzker or Shapiro. And by the way, I'm not saying Shapiro wants to do it either.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not a fan of Shapiro, and I'm not buying all this. He's such a moderate, popular governor in Pennsylvania. He's a coward too. He stuck it in the back of minority kids mainly by doing a 180 on school choice. He's all on board with the trans stuff. He's an identitarian hack too. So I'm not buying all that. But if I'm Shapiro's guy, saying you really want to hitch your wagon here, if this goes down, which more likely than not it is, you're done. Or do you want to come in fresh in 28? Hopefully with a little bit more of a successful record from their perspective coming into that. So maybe this is being dragged out in part because there's still a lot of persuading that Kamala is trying to do for her candidate or candidates of choice. David Winnetka, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Friday. When you look at this thing, if you imagine it like a big puzzle with so many different pieces of, just the craziness and how we got there. But me and myself, I'm in the age bracket when we were kids. We went out, we got muddy, we got bloody, we interacted, we did the stuff you're supposed to do. And now you have just so many people behind a screen, like shouting at this and doing at that. Nobody's, going and getting in fights in person or just different things. That it's just in such a different way that now, anyways, the mob mentality formed. And to me, it's always been, the mob mentality has just been so dumbed down and stupid. I've done exactly the opposite than, whatever. But it's like nobody has an identity, and they're so weak. These people are so weak that they need to belong, and they need to belong by, joining into this insanity. And I think that's a big reason of how and why it took place.
Thanks, David.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
AM 560, The Answer.
We have the some audio from that second. We played you for that first Zoom call that J.B. Pritzker was on, Jelly Belly, for VP vetting. Here's an excerpt from the second Zoom call.
Okay.
They're really kicking the tires here.
I'm a little trans girl, small and cute. These are my pigtails, yes, they're real. When I get all steamed up, I can pout. That tip me over part sounds kind of inappropriate though. So I'm going to stop the song there and keep it kid friendly. For all my young followers out there, stay proud, stay beautiful, and stay kind. Bye.
Bye. He's on message. And
he has pink pigtails, right?
well, I mean, for the call.
Oh.
For the call, yeah, it's another honky dude for Kamala has weighed in. Yeah.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, the prisoner swap.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Crystal Blue in for Mike Scott. Good morning, Crystal.
Good morning. It's 72 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Chance for showers this morning, turning partly cloudy this afternoon, high near 83. A new development is surfacing in the deadly police-involved shooting of Dexter Reed during a traffic stop on Chicago's west side several months ago. A court hearing took place Wednesday involving a civil lawsuit filed by Reed's family concerning the March 12th incident. The city originally said they pulled the man over because he was not wearing a seatbelt. Now they say he was pulled over for tinted windows. Reed family attorney Sheila Beatty says the suit is not about money, but about stopping racist traffic stops that lead to deadly outcomes. Officers fired nearly 96 shots at Reed during the incident. Police say thieves have been using ladders to get on the roof of several businesses before breaking in on Chicago's far south side. In each of the 8 incidents, a group of at least 3 suspects wearing dark clothing got away with cash or merchandise. The most recent crime happened on July 12th near 106th and State. Anyone with information is urged to contact the CPD Bureau of Detectives. An investigation is underway after apparent bones were found on Chicago's near North Side. Police say the discovery was made yesterday in the 1500 block of North LaSalle Drive in Old Town. It's not yet known if the bones are human. News is a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
It has been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years.
The worst president in the history of our country.
The best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
We have a new victim to defeat.
She's tough. She's capable.
Lion Kamala Harris.
What happens next happens here.
Kamala Harris has been the ultra-liberal driving force behind every single Biden catastrophe.
We face a choice.
This is your breaking news and election station. AM 560. The Answer.
As a business owner, do you have a strategy for exiting your business? Most business owners don't. Studies done by the Exit Planning Institute show 75% of business owners who don't have an exit plan are dissatisfied with their exit, and 80% of businesses put to market never sell. Total Clarity Wealth Management understands the hesitation to discuss exiting. Will customers leave? Will competitors take advantage? Will key employees leave? That's why they offer confidential planning. Contact Anne-Marie at Total Clarity Wealth Management. Discover what the financial foundation should be to pursue an exit that is satisfying. At some point, you are going to leave your business. Will it be on your terms? Total Clarity can show you the way to financial readiness and keep you on track. Anne-Marie is a certified exit planning advisor. Visit TotalClarityBusiness.com. That's TotalClarityBusiness.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Total Clarity Wealth Management, Inc., a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Hi, my name is John Stanton, founder of the Stanton Group WP. For over 20 years, I have been helping clients and their families plan for their personal definition of retirement. I'm offering to take a look at the plan you have in place now and see if it makes sense in a world that is in constant change. My practice deploys a core and protect risk management process designed to succeed in any market environment. We are fiduciaries legally required to act in your best interest. My team and I work for you every day to help achieve your personal financial goals. Let's talk. Call me at 630-445-2380 or go to our website, StantonGWP.com, to schedule a complimentary consultation. That's StantonGWP.com.
Investment advisory services are through Sequest Wealth Management, LLC, the advisor, a registered investment advisor. The advisor provides investment advisory and related services for clients nationally. The advisor will maintain all applicable registration and licenses as required by the various states in which the advisor conducts business as applicable. The advisor renders individualized responses to persons in a particular state only after complying with all regulatory requirements or pursuant to an applicable state exemption or exclusion.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Dennis Prager here. Join me on an unforgettable cruise to the Caribbean this November. We'll cruise to the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Turks and Caicos, and much more. We'll be joined by special guest Sean McDowell, and we'll both be sharing insights into current events in a way I hope energizes and challenges you. Secure your spot before space runs out by calling 855-565-5519 or book online at PragerCruise.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. It still looks good going in on the Edens. The Kennedy, though, 25 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown, the bulk of that delay. Austin to Montrose. We are not seeing delays on the inbound Eisenhower. That's good. Stevenson, 25 in from 355 to downtown. Going in on the Ryan, 15 minutes, 95th on in. Delays in the express lanes as well, 43rd to the Stevenson. Northbound Tri-State tight, right near the Reagan to the Eisenhower, and that's just slow traffic. but it's fine on the Skyway, I-57, and the Bishop Ford. DuSable Lakeshore Drive also clear. We have delays westbound 80, Hobart 255. That's overnight road work should be picked up, but the Jane Addams, the Reagan, and the Veterans tollways all clear. This report is sponsored by Discover. Time with family, laughs, and friends, and cash back. Discover's got you covered on the last one. That's because Discover doubles all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, variable cloudiness and a stray thunderstorm. Humid day, high 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight, low 70. Sunshine, a hot day tomorrow, and the high at 90. And then partly sunny, hot Sunday, high once again 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Our friend and colleague here at AM 560, the one and only Sean Thompson, he's throwing a party for listeners of his show and AM 560, and he wants you to join him on Friday, September 13th. Are you ready for it? It's called Sean Fest. And I want some clapping. It's Sean Fest. This is very exciting. We here at AM 560's morning show thought that it was a joke when we saw a flyer for Sean Fest, but it's not a joke. So, Justin, this is real. Sean Fest is taking place. It starts with a live broadcast of Sean's show, followed by an evening of live music. There will be food trucks and a beer garden. It's happening at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest, and everyone is welcome to attend this free. Oh, it's a free event. So come out and meet Sean and fellow AM 560 listeners. Again, the event is completely free, but you have to register to go to the event. So go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. That's 560theanswer.com/SeanFest. All one word. Register today to join Sean and other listeners on Friday, September 13th at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest.
If you like Lilith Fair, you'll love Sean Fest.
Are we going to have Dan Fest?
Oh, my gosh.
Amy Fest? I mean, look,
What
this
is
is real.
What is that going to be? What are the featured attractions at that?
Sean, you can watch him do a live broadcast, and then there's, don't roll your eyes, and then there's going to be live music.
By who?
I don't know. I don't have the lineup, but from 7 to 10, there's going to be live music, and
Uh-huh.
there's going to be a beer garden and some food trucks, and the event's free. I'm going to sign you up, Dan. You're going to Sean Fest. Go to 560theanswer.com/SeanFest.
I assume there'll be buses outside the Tiny Tap on North Avenue shipping people down to Gaelic Park.
Sean is spelled S. I was told to say this, and I'll read anything you put in front of me. Sean is spelled SHAUN, by the way. Sean Fest.
All right.
Okay.
That's exciting. What is your assessment of the week that has been in terms of the dynamic between Trump and Kamala? And let's fold in J.D. Vance as well, because there's a lot of people sounding a lot of alarms, a lot of people that are anxious, that are inclined to be supportive of Trump, are supportive or inclined to be supportive. And a good example of the anxiety is contained in this piece that Abigail Schreier wrote for the Free Press. Abigail Schreier, irreversible damage on the trans movement and so forth, other offerings. She complains about the approach that Republicans have taken. Basically, the Trump campaign, Trump specifically, but also Vance. She says, you're going after Kamala all wrong, is her piece. The GOP can complain about a coup and call Harris a DEI hire, but that won't win them votes. So stop worrying about Kamala not being elected to be the nominee by any Democrat primary voter. Stop worrying about what's happening on their side, the machinations of it. And stop calling her a DEI hire and focus on, I mean, this is a relatively conventional argument. It's one we addressed to some extent yesterday, but she folds in Vance here too. Focus on the 10 million migrants that have entered our country since Harris was put in charge of the border. Do they want to live in a place that, like California has become under politicians like Kamala, and so on and so forth? A couple of her nuggets here. Okay. Republicans are foolish enough to to attack Harris as a DEI hire are likely to be startled by the stampede to defend her. For one thing, calling Harris a DEI hire mistakes attacking the system with attacking its beneficiaries. The system of DEI is unethical and must be dismantled, but the beneficiaries did nothing wrong. Were they not supposed to apply for these jobs? Why shame them now? Consider that we all regard it as immoral that Major League Baseball once excluded black players. The system was rotten, but the players in it, Ruth, Williams, DiMaggio, don't deserve our contempt. Attack the system, not the players. Yeah, I know, but you also have to attack the general hypocrisy of the left. As I said yesterday, I don't understand. You're supportive of DEI, and then you complain when people properly describe the intended effect of the program. I support DEI. Kamala Harris is DEI hire. How dare you call her DEI hire? We're going to put her in as slot her in as vice president because she's a black woman. How dare you call her DEI hire? But I like DEI, and I like the impact of DEI, which is to elevate people's race or sex over their abilities or accomplishments. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm she goes on. The other counterproductive strategy, in addition to coup, I agree about the coup part of it in terms of like that she wasn't elected by any Democrats. I mean, while they're going to save our democracy, I get that hypocrisy piece, fine. But I think the bigger part of it is the fact that she, as we talked about with Alex Berenson yesterday, that she was part of the cover-up of Biden's condition for so long. It speaks to her dishonesty. Now that's maybe spun away by saying, well, she's loyal, but anyway, these aren't central. I agree. The other counterproductive strategy that Abigail Schreier points out, as others have, the slut shaming of Harris for her affair with powerful older politician. Well, yeah.
Anything in there about Montel Williams?
No. Talking about Willie Brown.
No, I know.
The charge seems ridiculous when leveled against a happily married.
How does she know if they're happily married?
Yeah. Happily married woman turning 60 who looks like a kindly auntie and whose stepchildren call her Mamala. Okay, Abigail. The quote unquote slut shaming or the raising of her affairs.
I don't want to hear about Trump's affairs.
Well. First of all, I mean, just the standards here. Yeah, I know. I guess these things don't matter anymore. But once upon a time they did, and it was almost always exclusively in the direction of men.
And now we have a female candidate running for president who has a little shady past.
Well, that's one thing. The second thing is...
how do you handle it?
The second thing is, I don't think you obsess about it, and I don't even think you talk about it in terms of the campaign messaging. But, I mean, it's true, and people are going to have fun with it. People find out these things. And the memes come, and they're going to continue. So, but I haven't heard that as sort of central to Trump's messaging, the campaign's messaging. So
he's not going to bring it up.
I don't really understand why there's concern about make sure you don't talk about this. Let people talk how they're going to talk, and let the campaign and the party writ large provide the message leadership that hopefully builds consensus around the focus of the message. That's the way I would think about it. I wouldn't worry about it. wouldn't obsess about it. Say this is a counterproductive way to communicate. Well, nobody's suggesting it is the way to communicate, and at the top levels, nobody is focused on that communication. So I think this is a little bit of I have this uneasy feeling, and so I'm picking and grasping for things that I see that I don't like, whether they're coming from the Trump campaign or not. President Trump can't control, and nobody can or should, everything everybody says. So relax. She says, Schreier, the question Republicans ought to confront before leveling any attack is, will this energize my supporters more or hers? For nearly every ad hominem salvo currently flung at Harris, the answer is hers. I think there's a lot of motivation on the Republican side. And I think there's a great desire for things to be called what they are, and for people to be held accountable for who they are and what they've done and what they've said versus perhaps what they're saying in the present. And I also think there is great motivation to deliver a reckoning that the center right portion of the electorate thought they were delivering in 2016, but it didn't take. And I also think there's a lot of motivation from that center right selection of the electorate after Trump was almost assassinated, and the performance of said security state, a combination of Secret Service and FBI, in the wake of that assassination. And the more incompetence we see, dare I say, illustrations of DEI hires or agencies beset by DEI hires, among other failings, the more motivation there's going to be. So, I like Abigail Schreier fine, but I'm just not quite as whipped into fits of anxiety about some of these ancillary things as she is. And then there's this piece about J.D. Vance. An aura of gloom trails J.D. Vance, she writes, and his instincts need recalibration. He seems to believe he's in a primary talking straight to his base, growling at Democrats. Typically, the vice president plays attack dog to keep the presidential candidate's hands clean, but Trump and Vance both often seem like pit bulls straining at the leash. Why did the elegant, brilliant Usha Vance fall for J.D.? There must be a sweet, loving side to this guy, which he ought to let voters see. If the Mitt Romney-Paul Ryan ticket had too little fight, this one currently suffers from too much. Too aggressive, too man cave, too full of resentment to please the American heart, which still has a fondness for things like joy and hope. What about that?
What do you think? Do you think Trump still would have picked him if he had known that he was running against Kamala Harris and not Biden? Do you think he still would have picked J.D. Vance?
I think there was a lot of suspicion that Biden wasn't going to make the race, and in Trump world, in fact, I know there was, and I think that they anticipated that they would be stuck with Kamala because they had painted themselves into a corner. So I think that was factored in.
I think he should have picked Nikki Haley, and it's for the woman power, just to take some of that wind out of Kamala Harris's sail right now with all this. Oh, we're going to put the first woman in office. We want the first competent woman in office. This is not what I dreamed of as a little girl, to think someday a woman could be president. This makes me sick. This is why I still wake up at 1:30 every morning with hives, because I am so worried about this election.
Is Abigail Schreier's characterization of the Trump-Vance ticket in its current incarnation too aggressive, too man cave, too full of resentment to please the American heart, which still has a fondness for things like joy and hope? I actually...
He's a little mini Trump sometimes, but I like that.
Is he? I mean, this exchange yesterday over Trump's comments at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention. Mm-hmm. J.D. Vance asked about him because, biracial dad, biracial kids with an Indian American wife.
The former president's comments yesterday to the National Association of Black Journalists, where he said that Vice President Harris is, quote, all of a sudden black. As a father of 3 biracial children, did those comments give you pause at all?
they don't give me pause at all. Look, all he said is that Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She goes to Georgia 2 days ago. She was raised in Canada. She puts on a fake Southern accent. She is everything to everybody, and she pretends to be somebody different depending on which audience she's in front of. I think it's totally reasonable for the president to call that out, and that's all he did. I mean, look, she's running as a tough-on-crime prosecutor, even though she implemented open border policies. She's saying that she wants to support the police, yet she wanted to defund the police just 3 years ago. It's totally reasonable to call out the fact that she pretends to be somebody different depending on the audience she's talking to.
Yeah, so who are they really running against? I mean, this is
well, wait a second. Was that too aggressive, too man cave, too full of resentment?
That was perfect, spot on.
I find J.D. Vance, generally speaking, very room temperature, almost to the point of vanilla. Now, I guess the convention speech, if that's what Schreier's referring to, he had a little bit more verve, was aggressive in sort of the America First positioning of taking the fight up against the political ruling class for the working man, which seems to be J.D. Vance's sweet spot. But I too aggressive, too man cave, too full of resentment. I don't really get that. And frankly, I mean, J.D. Vance's story is a story of joy and hope, and a uniquely American story, as a lot of people know it, and as he retold it at the convention. So I'm just a little. I mean, maybe there's something I'm not seeing, especially to women. J.D. Vance.
Well,
I mean, Trump is Trump. It's all effective. J.D. Vance is coming off as too aggressive, too man cavish.
Well, because they brought up that video from that interview from 2019 with Tucker Carlson when he was talking about AOC and other Democratic women who don't have children.
Well, even that comment. Listen, let's just so we all know what we're talking about here.
Saying is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it?
Well, Pete's got children now. He's a mom.
Yeah, he's a Mamala 2.0. Yeah. But so even that's a wildly controversial statement, which it really isn't that controversial. First of all, it's a description of what is. Secondly, it points to the issue of family. And yeah, maybe that could be seen as a little aggressive in terms of saying if you don't have children, you don't have a stake in the future of the country. But I mean, he's talking about it not for individual people who are childless, but I mean, there's no generation coming after you from you, and so that technically is also true. Plus, his presentation style is, hardly aggressive. I'm just, I don't know. Schreier seems to me like a lot of people I've heard from this week. They're very nervous. They feel like the DC press corps' propaganda machine is
it's in full gear.
Well, it's in full gear, but that it's moving the needle, and they're sort of buying both the characterizations of the DC press corps of Kamala as well as J.D. Vance and the Trump Vance ticket, and saying we have to do something to reverse this branding that's going on by the DC press corps. Let it breathe. Chill out. 100 days, long way to go. And they haven't even gotten to a debate stage yet.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you have jewelry with sentimental value that needs repairing? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I'm a customer of family-owned Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville because it's a place I trust. Their in-house master jeweler does impeccable work, and jewelry comes back repaired in perfect condition and looks the same as the day you bought it. That's a great feeling. Roland's also specializes in custom design. They'll work with you every step of the way to make your dream jewelry idea come to life. The Roland's family is expertly trained to give you outstanding customer service, earning 5-star Google ratings. Now that's impressive. Visit Roland's Jewelers' beautiful showroom in downtown Libertyville for all of your jewelry needs. Visit RolandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS Jewelers.com, or call or text them at 847-918-7300. 847-918-7300. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust.
Choosing where to send your kids to school is one of the most important decisions parents make. So you might be thinking about where to send your kids to school in the fall, since the fall is upon us, just about. You need to know that private school might be an option for you and your family, thanks to our friends at Half Price Schools. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find many different private schools from around Chicagoland offering a full year of tuition for half of the normal price. And you can take advantage of this great opportunity. It's simple. Find a private school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school in the fall. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools across Chicagoland, including St. Andrew's Lutheran in Park Ridge, Ravenswood Christian in Chicago, Christian Liberty in Arlington Heights, St. Peter Lutheran in Schaumburg, and many more. Don't delay. Next school year is here. So August. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. Don't wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. Since 1969, we've been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows. From modern to traditional styles, Marvin replacement windows and doors can bring your backyard right into your living space. Make your home feel brighter and more spacious. Our professional services, along with the best products like Marvin, are why we're proud of our 5-star reviews. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door experts in Chicagoland. Need new windows now? Buy now, pay later with 0% financing for 18 months. Terms and conditions apply. Visit woodlandwindows.com and schedule an appointment today. That's woodlandwindows.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Okay, hot off the presses, we have, this is from Quinn, our producer. This is the flyer for Sean Fest. If you're watching us on the Signature Bank and on YouTube's. Back Forward is one of the bands playing.
Uh-huh.
It's an 80s, 90s, and 2000s cover band. Stevie Swing. Have you heard of Stevie Swing?
No.
And then there's going to be food trucks, and there it says a beer garden. Smoke and Barbecue Kitchen's going to be there. Taco, Mario's, and Nikki's.
It sounds like the social event of the season. Yeah, all right.
Meet producers Honey Bunny and Squirrel Hands. What the heck is what? And Chug the Comeback Clown's going to be there too.
Yeah, those are his nicknames for his producers.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, those aren't their Christian names. Honey Bunny and
Honey
Squirrel
Bunny.
Hands. Coming up at 7:07, we'll talk more about POTUS as well as that prisoner release with Brett Baer, 7:07.
It is now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
He lifted his mother off the ground, hugging her. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Evan Gershkovich and 2 other Americans freed from Russia in a swap that involves 24 prisoners. They got a big welcome home just before midnight, landing at Joint Base Andrews. Then they flew to San Antonio, Texas, where Paul Whelan, also wrongly convicted as a spy, said,
The FSB grabbed me, said I was a spy. I'm apparently a general in the Army, a secret agent for DIA. This is the nonsense narrative they came up with, and they wouldn't let it go.
Also back in the U.S., another freed American journalist, Alsu Kamersh, all greeted by President Biden and Vice President Harris.
It really is about personal relationships. It's about family. It's about being able to have access to the people you love and you adore.
This is an example of the strength of American leadership in bringing nations together.
The deal is the largest prisoner exchange between the U.S. and Russia since the Cold War. The freed Americans are undergoing medical evaluations and now spending time with family members.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. 8 of the prisoners freed are convicted Russians. One of them, an intelligence agent turned assassin who murdered a Chechen leader in Germany. Former President Trump reacted, telling Fox Business's Maria Bartiromo he's glad Americans were freed, but worries it rewards Russian leader Vladimir Putin and encourages more of this.
All of a sudden, you have a lot of hostages taken prisoner, so to speak, and you'll have a lot of things happening. It's very bad. It's a very bad precedent.
His Democratic rival in the 2024 race, Vice President Harris, just raised a presidential campaign record $310 million in July, more than double the Trump campaign fundraising last month. The U.S. has declared Venezuela's opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez the winner of Sunday's presidential election, rejecting President Maduro's much protested claim that he won. The U.S. has been demanding Maduro release the results proving that claim. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 73 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Chance of showers this morning, then turning partly cloudy, high near 83. Sangamon County Sheriff Jack Campbell believes it would be irresponsible to resign following the deadly shooting of Sonia Massey last month. Speaking to the State Journal-Register, Campbell said he has the drive to bring justice for Massey, the community, and for his deputies. Many called for his resignation after Massey was shot and killed July 6th by former Deputy Sean Grayson, who's charged with murder. Campbell said his department was betrayed by Grayson for what he did, since he had the same training as them. A convicted felon is charged in the killing of off-duty Cook County Sheriff's Deputy Raphael Wardlaw. Wardlaw's mother said her son was a hero.
He fought protecting his friend. He was a hero. He was a hero in this incident, and he fought.
Cordero Thompson faces multiple charges, including murder and attempted murder. Authorities say Wardlaw was coming to the aid of a friend when he was shot to death during an attempted robbery at a gas station on Chicago's South Side earlier this week. Thompson fired nearly 70 bullets during the incident. Governor Pritzker is a finalist to possibly be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate in her presidential campaign. Pritzker was reportedly interviewed twice this week by Harris's vetting team. Other contenders include Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, and Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg are also in the running. Harris is set to kick off a tour through battleground states with her yet-to-be-named running mate on Tuesday. The city of Peoria is accepting applications for the interim city treasurer position. The job was left open after former treasurer Stephen Morris resigned due to personal and professional commitments. The resident filling the interim position will remain in office for the remainder of the term. The general election for city treasurer is April 1st, 2025. News is a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. You can now enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer. Listen now at danandamy247.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka always has the best guests.
How do you think this opponent rates against the incumbent Joe Biden?
He was the worst president we've ever had, and her ratings are lower than his ratings, so I don't know how she can do well, but maybe she can. It's a crazy world out there. Nothing good happened during this administration. Nothing.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Febreze. Fabric Talk. Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of consumer cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are your file cabinets stuffed with work orders, invoices, bills of lading, medical records, and or compliance papers? There's a solution to clear the clutter by converting your documents into accessible digital form with the help of IDT. They can scan your documents for you or provide you with the technology to transform your workspace with easy and innovative IoT smart connected scanning technology. IoT smart connected scanning not only captures your information, it connects your documents directly to your existing digital systems, ensuring seamless integration and immediate access. Plus, it works with your existing Microsoft Office 365 technology. Convert those physical files into secure, searchable, easy-to-find digital formats. Goodbye, paper chaos. Hello, streamlined, secure digital environment. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready, the number 4idt.com. IDT, putting paper in its place.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. It's 18 minutes inbound on the Edens. Lake Cook Road to Montrose, that is tight. Foster to Montrose. Kennedy, a 35-minute trip in from O'Hare to downtown. And the Eisenhower, 30 minutes, 390 into the post office. Stevenson trip, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Inbound side of the Dan Ryan, 18 minutes, but it is very tight in those express. 43rd at the Stevenson. Skyway, 57 both clear. Ford inbound tight Cottage Grove to the Ryan. 8094 is wide open in both directions. There are delays on DuSable Lakeshore Drive northbound. Southbound side looks good. Tri-State southbound tight right near Town Line Road. And the other tollways, though, those are in good shape, wide open, so no complaints. Traffic is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, variable cloudiness and a stray thunderstorm. Humid day, high 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight, low 70. Sunshine, a hot day tomorrow, and the high at 90. And then partly sunny, hot Sunday, high once again 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Kamala Harris, in her eulogy to Sheila Jackson Lee, the recently deceased congresswoman from Texas, almost had a slip. She caught herself.
And as a leader who believed deeply that America's true and full history must be acknowledged and honored, it was Sheila Jackson Lee whose bill made Juneteenth a federal holiday, which as a United States Senator I was proud to co-sponsor, and then as Vice President, it was my honor, with the President, with our President Joe Biden to stand beside Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee as our president signed her bill into law.
Yeah, she was grinning like a Cheshire cat with that little almost slip. But then, to prove that Joe Biden does exist, they came out together to welcome Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter, and others held hostage, other Americans held hostage by the Russians in that prisoner swap yesterday.
Yeah, and she spoke, so Dan, for the first time of this campaign without a script, and it went exactly how you'd expect.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day.
Yeah, it's important to understand diplomacy so that you can understand diplomacy.
And the strength of the diplomacy that we are understanding, Dan. First time in 11 days.
Paul, I thought I was listening to Kissinger. Brett Baer is the host of Fox News Special Report, weekdays, 5 p.m. Chicago time. He's also the best-selling author of To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, as well as The History Club, Duel Across Time. Brett, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Morning.
All right, tell us who her running mate's going to be.
I don't have the inside scoop. You know, all three of the finalists, believed to be finalists, canceled all their events this weekend for interviews with Vice President Harris, and that's Mark Kelly, Andy Beshear, and Josh Shapiro. You know, the launch event happens in Philadelphia, so there's a lot of people saying maybe it leans towards Shapiro. Either way, any one of the three of those tends towards the moderate side of the party. And, you know, this is part of this evolution that they're trying to do on the 2019 race of what she said and talking about policies. I agree with you guys focusing on that little extemporaneous answer. That's literally the first question. Yeah. And I think it was, how do you feel? You know, like a probing question, like, how do you feel about this? And that was the vice president's answer. So it behooves her, I think, to do more interviews, and we obviously offer every day.
No, I don't think it does behoove her to do more interviews. That's the problem, isn't it?
I mean, it can't be like being in the basement. I mean, this is a different time. And I think, you know, most times you would have a primary. You would have a vetting process. Mm-hmm. You would have a lot of interviews, a lot of questions, a lot of rallies. This is a 90-day sprint, and so far we haven't had access.
I wonder, just on the VP thing for a second. You know, everybody's looking at it just one direction, who she's going to select. Any of those finalists you mentioned, or others being rumored, that that there is an effort to persuade them to be interested and they're recalcitrant? You know, we'd really like Mark Kelly, for example, but we can't seem to get him across the finish line.
No, I think all three of those are in.
Okay.
I do think Roy Cooper from North Carolina pulled himself out of contention, and she has the closest relationship to Roy Cooper, and he's a very successful governor in North Carolina, a state that they want. So something tells me that sales job didn't work.
Well, do you know why he left the race?
I don't, although he put out a statement early on. I think he's happy being governor, and maybe you know, getting involved in all of the national focus. You know, it is a lot in 100 days. But listen, this race is essentially where it was, I think, on June 26th before the debate. I think that you know, it's tight. It's probably coming down to 6 states right now. And in those 6 states, about a sixth of the population. So then again, you're about 300,000 votes in a country of 330 million.
So, yeah, there's, as I'm sure you have felt, there's a lot of anxious Republicans because of the hagiographic coverage that Kamala has been getting until since she effectively became the nominee, and with their convention still in the offing and the prospect of getting a bump out of their convention. A lot of people are nervous. There's a lot of recriminations that are being bandied about publicly with respect to J.D. Vance. There's some talk that Trump and Vance are too aggressive. They're too focused on things that are not material. A lot of criticism of Trump's remarks at the National Association of Black Journalists this week, getting into Kamala Harris's heritage. I mean, is that sort of also being largely ginned up by parties and institutions that are interested in seeing Kamala Harris succeed? Or do you think there is a problem within the Republican camp with respect to both Vance specifically and the messaging of both generally?
Well, I think it's a broad question, but I do think, the former president sometimes is his own worst enemy, number one. Number two, I think that the J.D. Vance selection is done. I mean, they made it. It's not going to change. And for all these people saying, well, you could pull him off the ticket and do a change, it's not, one, worth it, and two, really feasible. And I think that basically this is surviving Republicans, these news cycles. And there have been a number of really good news cycles for Kamala Harris, let's be honest. I mean, this hostage deal the exchange is really good for the administration. The money out today, she's raised more than $300 million in this short amount of time and has more money than Trump does in the war chest. I mean, that's a big deal. But, again, the policy stuff is something that hasn't been addressed. And they can put out statements till the cows come home about how, no, she's really for fracking now. But until you hear her make that jump from what she said on camera numerous times in 2019 as a presidential candidate to this new position, I don't think that it's a sold deal. So I think this is a tight race.
It's not only fracking. I mean, single-payer health care, no longer into mandatory gun buyback program. Do you know who her new handlers are who are releasing this information on a daily basis?
Well, she accepted. She took the Biden campaign team, Jen O'Malley Dillon and others. So all of those people have changed stripes and are trying to make her like old Joe Biden, the old moderate Joe Biden. I mean, in positioning. I'm not sure it's going to work. I think she has to sell it and. Listen, there are so many issues that, on policy that are available for Republicans to go down that road. So I think it's a distraction to be detoured by these comments about ethnicity and other things.
She's old Scranton Kamala.
There you go.
Scranton Kamala. Yeah, well, although, I mean, to be fair to the Trump campaign, too, I mean, their first big TV ad was about her time as the Borders Arena. So, I mean, that in terms of the macro messaging. Something on messaging, so many people have talked about this since weird became the watchword of the left for at least the week. And the the mashups that populate on social media where everybody on MSNBC and CNN and even liberal pundits on Fox and stuff are literally saying almost verbatim the same thing. And I just, you talk to people who see some of this, everybody say, like, do they literally have a central office where they send out a memo that everybody gets or a morning email and these are the phrases you must rinse and repeat today? I mean, when you see that, how do you explain it?
Automatically, you read that these talking points have gone out from on high, and they're really good at sticking to the script. And everyone, to your point, sticks to the script, but it's almost too good because you look at all of these different sound bites and you say, "This is ridiculous." Figure out a different way to say the same thing, but don't say it exactly the same. Otherwise, it looks like you're robots. But clearly weird was the substitute for threat to democracy, and that was not sticking.
Yeah, it was weird and creepy. I threw in creepy as well.
Yeah, but the other piece of that you just mentioned, the pivot away from threat to democracy, save our democracy, that is sort of interesting because they were committed to that for some time.
Well, she hasn't mentioned it once in her two rallies.
Once you anoint a nominee and don't have any votes, the democracy thing is kind of out the window as far as an argument. She'll be the nominee without any Democrat votes actually for Kamala Harris. So I don't know if that's part of it, but it was not sticking as far as being something that was taking a toll. Now she's shifted from threat to democracy to fighting for freedom. And then that goes an entry point to reproductive rights and abortion.
Where do you understand the back and forth that they've had publicly about debates, including Trump on Laura Ingraham this week saying, yeah, I'm going to debate, but not ABC because, they're nasty and so forth. Do you have any backstory on where that is and how that may come together?
Well, the former president has agreed to a debate on our network, and we're waiting on Vice President. She's agreed to ABC on September 10th. I think it's going to be earlier than that, if I had to guess. And I think that they're going to get to a conclusion. We hope it's with us, but either way, I think it's going to happen before early voting starts.
Is it your sense there'll be just one or more than one?
That's a good question. I know there'll be one. In my heart, I know that they're going to come to a conclusion on one. I don't know if there'll be two. I hope there's two. I mean, for the good of for everybody. And, if you have one in September and you have one in October, it starts to feel like you really had debates.
Bret Baier is the host of Special Report, Fox News, weekdays 5 p.m. Chicago time. Best-selling author of To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment, as well as The History Club, Duel Across Time. Bret, thank you as always.
Thanks. See you guys.
Thank you, and have a great weekend. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance cost you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
In the 2 years since SCOTUS overturned Roe, abortion has become big business in Illinois, thanks to Jelly Belly. While other states have restricted abortions, Illinois has become a destination for women looking for abortions. You can help to reverse that trend by supporting a great organization called Preborn. Research shows that when pregnant girls or young women see their babies on an ultrasound, they are far more likely to choose life for that child. We had Scott Wilder in yesterday, 83%. 83% choose life. And Preborn provides ultrasounds for mothers facing crisis pregnancy centers. The cost of an ultrasound is just $28. That's it. It's all it takes to save the life of a baby. Your gift of $28 can give a mother who is abortion-minded the chance to see the truth of the baby that's growing inside her. For a gift of $140, you can do that for 5 moms and their babies. And maybe you're someone who has the means to give a gift of $15,000. If so, that's what it costs to purchase an ultrasound machine that can save the lives of thousands of babies for years to come. Regardless of what you're able to give, don't wait. Your gift to Preborn can make an immediate impact. To give that gift, just go to 560theanswer.com/preborn. That's all one word, 560theanswer.com/preborn, 560theanswer.com/preborn, or call 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by Mike Gallagher at 9. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, we honor traditions, celebrate faith, and cherish memories. Take an active role in establishing your legacy for future generations by pre-planning your final arrangements today. Alleviate your loved ones of future financial burden. Lock in today's prices and take advantage of interest-free financing and no hidden fees. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, this is a good spot, too. We're talking about campaign messaging in part with Brett Baer. AI fills in for AI can fill in the truth about Kamala when she is unable to offer the truth herself. Take a listen to this ad for Kamala Harris. AI generated the truth.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility of the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time. Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking. The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring. And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. You think the country went to over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, the laugh.
Cackle. That's some pretty good voice mimicry, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Scary honest is what it is. Yeah, I almost forgot about the the great alliance we share with the Republic of North Korea.
That was, she actually said that.
Perfect. Yeah, no, exactly.
That was an AI generated.
Perfect compliment to her paean to diplomacy, because strengthening diplomacy is important for diplomacy purposes, as she was saying yesterday with the big guy in tow.
I wonder where she's going to go this weekend. I mean, she's the 9 divine sororities. She's running out. She's already spoken at 2, so she has 7 left, Dan.
All right, coming up at 7:37, Girling the Boy Scouts with our friend Heather McDonald, the great thinker and author. Girling the Boy Scouts, but it's more than just about the Boy Scouts. It's about the lack of organizations that valorize men in manliness in this culture. Heather McDonald has a great piece on it, and we'll pour over that with her at 7:37.
But first, let's head into the newsroom. Crystal Blue is in for our good friend Mike Scott. Good morning, Crystal.
Good morning. It's 73 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Chance for showers this morning, turning partly cloudy this afternoon with a high near 83. A man convicted of a deadly 2022 shooting in Bloomington is being sentenced to 8 decades in prison. Jalen Bones received the sentence this week after a McLean County jury found him guilty of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and aggravated battery with a firearm. Police say officers found Timothy Manns shot to death inside an apartment on West Jefferson on January 24th, 2022. A federal judge is sentencing a Chicago man to 40 years in prison for sex trafficking children. Prosecutors say Lenny Perry trafficked at least 7 children under the age of 18. Perry used websites such as Backpage and Facebook to advertise commercial sex acts for money. and recruited the young victims to work for him. He arranged for the victims to meet individuals for the commercial sex acts in hotels and homes in Illinois, Minnesota, and Mississippi. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin is pushing legislation to fund future quantum research at the U.S. Department of Energy. Durbin and fellow U.S. Senator Steve Daines introduced a measure that would advance the country's capacity to invest in quantum information science and research and development. The measure would authorize $2.5 billion in funding over the next 5 years. News is a service of Waukegan Roofing. For commercial roofing, replace or repair, contact the company that's been replacing and repairing commercial roofs in Chicagoland since 1914 and shares your values. WaukeganRoofing.com. Emergencies welcome. Check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Mike Gallagher wants to stick to the facts.
I'm going to urge you and urge our Republican leaders and urge media pundits on our side of the aisle to cease with the personal attacks on Kamala Harris. There is so much to her record and what she represents that we should easily see her going down to defeat on November the 5th.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text trade to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text trade to 76626.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. Still no troubles on the Edens, 18 minutes in from Lake Cook Road to Montrose. It's a 35-minute trip going in on the Kennedy from O'Hare into downtown, 30 back on out. Eisenhower also a half hour, 390 into downtown. Stevenson, 25 minutes, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, a 20-minute ride, 95th on in, Express are tight. 51st to the Stevenson. The Skyway 57 Ford all clear. DuSable Lakeshore Drive looks good. Tri-State northbound tight Roosevelt to the Eisenhower. Good news on the Jane Addams, no troubles. The Reagan is clear, as is the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Accident in Gurnee, Washington, closed between Oak Plain and Greenleaf Avenue. Traffic is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Proft University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, variable cloudiness and a stray thunderstorm. Humid day, high 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight, low 70. Sunshine, a hot day tomorrow, and the high at 90. And then partly sunny, hot Sunday, high once again 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Our friend Heather McDonald has a great piece over at City Journal, Girling the Boy Scouts. And it's not just about the demise of the Boy Scouts over the last several years, which we've documented here, discussed. It's also how the downward spiral of the Boy Scouts tracks with the larger downward spiral of American culture into this identitarian morass we find ourselves in which we find ourselves situated. The need for an entity that valorizes males or that merely acknowledges their existence is greater today than when the Boy Scouts was founded in the early 20th century. Those are the words of Heather McDonald, part from her piece. And we're pleased to be joined by Heather McDonald now to discuss this in greater detail. She is the Thomas W. Smith Fellow at the Manhattan Institute and author of When Race Trumps Merit, How the Pursuit of Equity Sacrifices Excellence, Destroys Beauty, and Threatens Lives. Heather, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
So we need an organization that valorizes men and manliness, that projects father figures in addition to the fathers that at least some boys have at home. And we don't see one in the offing, and frankly, the demise of the Boy Scouts sort of speaks to why, doesn't it?
Right, and we have many of those for females. That's what's so galling about this. When feminism came about, it was zero-sum. It purported to lift up females by tearing down males. The Girl Scouts still exist. Nobody is pressuring the Girl Scouts to change its name or admit boys. And yet the feminists who decided that they were going to destroy the Boy Scouts, rather than saying, well, we want to make the Girl Scouts, if we feel the Girl Scouts are inferior to the Boy Scouts, we'll bring the Girl Scouts up to Boy Scout standards. We'll have them offer Eagle badges, Eagle Scout status. Instead, they said, no, the way we're going to do this is just to destroy the Boy Scouts as currently existing. And that's typical of the identity world that you mentioned at the beginning, Dan, which is that the mob, which has turned itself onto the entirety of Western civilization, that's really what's going on in these pro-Hamas protests. They're anti-Semitic, but they are at core anti-Western. The mob cannot create, but it can tear down, and it is drunk on its power to destroy.
But Girl Scouts will take boys pretending to be girls, just as the Boy Scouts will take, well, you don't even have to pretend, because Boy Scouts is for girls and boys both. Now, scouting, boys gone. But of course, they're all fully committed to the gender identity politics of this, even at a young age.
Right. The Girl Scouts is, in fact, very left-wing. It began the identity stuff early on. But now, the Boy Scouts has its diversity, equity, inclusion director. If you want to make Eagle Scout status, you have to take a badge in diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's got affinity groups for gay employees, for Latinx employees, for Asian employees. Of course, it does not have an affinity group for white male heterosexual employees. It has diversity training for its employees. I mean, it really looks like a college gender studies program with maybe a little bit of camping thrown in, but I'm sure that too is now has to be inclusive of I don't know what of trees or animals or something.
So Heather McDonald, can girls become Eagle Scouts?
Yes.
Okay, and that's been in place all along, or did they have to
No,
fight for that?
They had to fight for that. The Boy Scouts used to be an organization for boys. It was founded in the early 20th century by a British war hero who looked around in Victorian England and said, boy, we have a lot of sickly boys of doubtful morality here. You know, they're shoplifting, they're smoking, heaven forbid. I want to create an institution that will teach them that the essence of manliness is goodness and chivalry, and will give them something to aspire to, because he thought that the boys he was seeing in Victorian England were not going to grow up to be valid and valorous and magnanimous men. Theodore Roosevelt at the time said, you know, let's remember that the essence of manliness is orientation towards others. And that was the ethic of the Boy Scouts for a century, but it understood that boys have an important need to bond with other boys. They elevate themselves, they compete, they also beat each other up, but they create male bonds that are there for a lifetime, and that the Boy Scouts was a forum in which you could try out those male identities of selflessness, of altruism. And that became completely unacceptable. The first assault was in the 70s when they said, oh, you're not relevant, and the Boy Scouts said, okay, we got to be relevant for ghetto boys, so we're going to throw aside woodcraft skills and do, you know, how to solve rat bites and navigate subway systems. Well, finally, they course-corrected on that. They realized this is not the way to sell it. And I have been to inner-city Boy Scout troops that are things of beauty. To see these young inner-city kids without fathers in a church basement learning how to start a fire and pledging the flag and worrying about the neatness of their uniforms, that gives them something to live up to. Well, then the gay movement, the gay lobby took aim at the Scouts and said, oh, you have to have openly gay Scoutmasters. Never mind that they were suffering a problem with gay Scout abuse by Scoutmasters, but no, that was something that was unrelated to having gay Scoutmasters, the child abuse problems. So then they opened it up to gay Scoutmasters, openly gays, trans came in, and then the females said, oh, you're not inclusive enough for females, and since about 10 years ago, the core Boy Scout program was open to girls. The thing that happened recently that is just symbolically so significant is they decided, even though we're not even an all-boy program any longer, because that would not be inclusive, which is the 1990s, 200s version of relevance, we're going to get rid of the word boy in our title, because that is itself offensive. And so it's no longer called the Boy Scouts of America. The organization has rebranded itself as Scouting America to get rid of any last vestige of maleness.
You make this important point, too, that the Scouts Executive Board, CEOs of red state companies that produce petroleum, pipelines, livestock, canned food, heavily male. I mean, I know Rex Tillerson, Rexon, the CEO of Exxon was I don't know if he still is, but he was chairman of the board recently.
Yep.
And, yeah, so all these men of some accomplishment and some means who understand something about the real world and business and organizational ethos and mission focus and so forth, and yet they just all, I don't want to say got steamrolled, because they seem to have been willing participants in the Boy Scouts' demise.
They all caved. There is no resistance to the progressive steamroller in mainstream institutions. We'll see what happens with the election, but mainstream institutions are absolutely vulnerable. Nobody has the guts to stand up. I mean, for heaven's sakes, if the military and Marine commandments have allowed females into combat units, at least in the Army, then there is really no hope, because if ever you need male bonding for combat readiness, it's in a combat unit, and yet even there, the feminists have won over common sense and traditional values. And in many instances, of course, it's the wives. We see this with CEOs as well, that are pushed further and further left. And we know that females are the left-wing force in our culture today. And so, as I say, the wives of these CEOs cave. But again, yes, I was just surprised. I researched who these board members were, and you would have thought, those red states where some of them at least are standing up to the whole diversity, equity, and inclusion scam, would have some backbone, but they don't.
Yeah, it's really interesting too because you just want. I mean, this was sort of everybody who's sensible on this wonders what is it going to take for some sort of resetting or rebalancing. We watch an Algerian man beat up an Italian woman in an Olympic boxing match yesterday.
Angela Carini.
Right. I mean, but that's nothing new. That just happened on the Olympic stage, but it's nothing new. We've been seeing this for years in terms of men's incursion into women's sports amid all the identity politics. You talked about what's happening in the military. We're talking about DEI culture in the Secret Service that almost maybe cost the former president his life. DEI culture in the FBI that leads to abuses and illustrations of incompetence and so forth. These are agencies with massive law enforcement power, police power. And so, I mean, when you think about this, since you've done so much research and writing on the topic, do you have any sort of answer to when is a rebalancing going to take place? When is there going to be a revolt against this? Is it underway with some of the clawing back of DEI policies? Or how do you assess the landscape and the prospect that it changes significantly?
Well, first, and I would add medicine to that.
Yeah.
We have in every medical school students who are being admitted on the basis of race who are not qualified. They are being passed along who are not qualified. We are lowering the standards for medical licensing in order to avoid disparate impact on less qualified black students. I'm just going to be very honest about that. The game is all about avoiding disparate impact on black students who do not have the academic skills that are traditionally required in a variety of professions. So it is everywhere. I know what is going to have to happen, which is people saying, you can't scare me with calling me a racist or calling me a sexist. I don't care. I'm going to do what I know is right, and you're not going to silence me. What that is going to take, I don't know. I mean, when are white males going to stand up and say, we are not the problem? We do not have anything to apologize for. I will apologize for Western civilization when I see Indian and Chinese and African civilization apologize for its genocides, for its imperialism, for its efforts to subjugate and colonialize, for its slavery. Not a single civilization has ever done better on average than Western civilization when it comes to human rights and spreading progress. But somebody's going to have to gain the courage to say that. And yes, there are signs of progress. The red states are being creative in how they cut back on this thing in universities. And I hope that they keep going. And it's amusing to read the Chronicle of Higher Education reporting on all of this and how dare they politicize education. We're so pure and all we care about is the pure pursuit of knowledge. We would never do anything political. And here are these right-wingers coming in and they are imposing that we study American history. Of course, it's okay that we impose studying that white people are bad, but we're not going to talk about that. So there is things happening, but it's not happening fast enough, frankly.
Heather McDonald, Thomas W. Smith Fellow at the Manhattan Institute, author of When Race Trumps Merit, How the pursuit of equity sacrifices excellence, destroys beauty, and threatens lives. Heather, thank you as always.
Thanks, Dan and Amy.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you maintain an industrial plant, you know your dust collection systems are a vital part of the operation of your plant. Without them, things can get dusty quick. And when your dust collection system malfunctions, the downtime can cost your plant money. Time to call the professionals at Vans Industrial for help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. At Vans, we work with many different types and sizes of dust collectors, from 1,000 CFM to 100,000 CFM. If your system needs housing repair, tube sheet, pulse valves, ductwork, or collection hoods, give us a call. Schedule an inspection today to keep things running smoothly and avoid costly downtime. And when you're ready for a new dust collector, we can design your system from the collection hoods to the stat for plants of all size applications.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics insured at the highest level to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web, vansindustrial.com.
All right. Is credit card debt stressing you out and keeping you up at night? Well, you need to call Team Hochberg about a fresh start debt consolidation loan. Today, meet Billy. He's 68. He's a veteran. Score is 658. Income from his 2 jobs, VA benefits and Social Security, totaled $112,000 a year. He's living in a $275,000 single-family home in Crystal Lake. Now, Billy accumulated $67,000 on his credit cards and didn't have the funds to pay them off. So he contacted Team Hochberg about their Fresh Start debt consolidation mortgage. Team Hochberg loan officer Cindy helped Billy eliminate that credit card debt and saved him over $2,100 a month. Let's review. Cindy helped Billy pay off $67 grand of credit card debt and save more than $25,000 a year. So what are you waiting for? Team Hochberg helped Billy and thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call. 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number again, 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
After 30 years of doing knee and hip replacements, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup thought there had to be a better way, and that led him to regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it.
Now, after 20 years of successful orthobiologic treatments, lots of clinical data, research, and teaching, Dr. Scheinkup is National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
They've done an amazing job of becoming the most significant orthobiologic and regenerative medicine practice in the United States. QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
So if you have chronic pain from arthritis and you want to avoid drugs and surgery, call the experts in this revolutionary field, QC Kinetics.
To give patients real lasting relief from pain, that's what I live for. That's my mission.
Get your free consultation now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-504-8790. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-504-8790. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-504-8790.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, just flying off that last spot you just heard, the Legal Help Center. So I listened to this this otherwise unlistenable show with it like this is like it's like an updated version of Eddie and Jobo.
Okay.
A bunch of like an old guy and a bunch of dim-witted Gen Zers, I guess, doing like a morning madhouse show. But they have this one segment that's fun just because of the nature of people called Waiting by the Phone.
All right.
Right. So it's like people connect on basically on the dating sites. They go out. One person thought they had a great time. Everybody had a great time. And then they get ghosted. So they want to know why they got ghosted. That's the whole thing. The commentary's nonsensical. They're idiots. But just the whole complete lack of self-awareness, right? I don't understand why he or she didn't call back, and then you find out, oh, well, because you suggested a threesome with a roommate.
Yeah, or something like that.
Or
you didn't offer to pay for the bill, maybe, or I don't know.
It's usually much more obvious than that. It's like, oh, you involved me in a drug deal.
Oh,
I mean, it's like,
wow.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah,
is this
that
another
did
reason
happen.
why Dan Proft is single?
Really, to listen to these people, it really is. But anyway, this these just awful plaintiffs' attorneys firms that advertise.
I know they get under your skin.
Like the Hammer. The Hammer is one. They all have like these nicknames. They're like WWE characters now.
Yeah.
They're like car dealers, except even less reputable. They're smashing prices and they're doing this. They're like cartoons. Well, this is the most ghetto version of that particular sector I've heard. And I heard this ad on that station.
And now you got me hooked up onto them.
It tells you sort of what the audience is there. But anyway, and I saw a billboard on 294 for this guy now, or this firm. I don't know if it's a guy or it's a firm or whatever. And I've heard a couple of interviews with the lawyers on that station. Oh my gosh. Wow, is that embarrassing. You want to talk about why trial lawyers have such a bad reputation? Because they deserve it.
Hi, I'm attorney James Helm, and let me tell you in 15 seconds how Top Dog can get you top dollar on your case. Whether your case is a slip and fall from some water or another substance on the floor, a medical malpractice case because a loved one of yours passed away in the hospital and the hospital could have prevented it. Or you're a delivery driver that just got into a car accident through no fault of your own, then there's only one law firm to call, baby, and that's Top Dog Law.
And he's in all these outfits where you hear all the sound effects. But then this guy who voices a lot of their ads, I don't even have the best one. I haven't been able to find it yet.
You'll never forget this day. Today, Top Dog called you. Told you your settlement check was ready. You just went from a zero to a hero. Went from making $15 an hour to having over $500,000 in your bank account. Went from working to never having to work again in your life. You went from not walking, both legs broken, to walking and you're better now. You went from renting to owning. Top Dog did that. You went from being broke to up. Top Dog did that. You went from an accident to being rich. Man, Top Dog did that. I'm just dropping gems on you. Get into an accident, Top Dog is who you call. If you want the money, if you want the top dollar, then Top Dog is who you call. Follow him on Instagram at Top Dog Law. Any accident is topdoglaw.com.
Jackpot Justice? No. Who would think such a thing? The way that you get rich is to slip and fall and then have Top Dog Law sicked on the person who owns the property. It really is. Boy.
The beginning of the end of our culture. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk July jobs on Jim Perry at 8:08.
And it is now 8 a.m. right on the dot. AM 560, The Answer.
Less hiring may lead to more selling.
I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News stocks could plunge a second day in a row after a worse than expected jobs report just out sent futures dropping big.
114,000 jobs on non-farm. The estimate was 175,000 jobs. The unemployment rate unexpectedly went up. We went up to 4.3%. We were looking for a rate of 4.1.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni, the job creation's the lowest since April, and the government revised May and June hiring down by 29,000 jobs. 3 Americans among the 24 freed in a prisoner swap with Russia are back in the U.S. and will be evaluated at an Army Medical Center in Texas, where they landed a few hours ago.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm home. Yeah. I'm never going back there again.
That's Paul Whelan. He'd been detained in Russia for 6 years and calls his spy conviction nonsense. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich lifted his mother off the ground, hugging her when he landed.
Gershkovich was detained in March of last year.
It's over here. Yeah, it's overwhelming.
The prisoner exchange included 7 countries, with Russia releasing 16 people and receiving 8 in return. It's the largest U.S.-Russia prisoner swap since the Cold War.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. President Biden, when greeting the Americans just before midnight, said,
"To me, this is about the essence of who we are as a country."
Now, one of the 8 prisoners Russia got back is an assassin convicted of murder in Germany. Former President Trump tells Fox Business's Maria Bartiromo,
"As usual, it was a win for Putin or any other country that deals with us, but we got somebody back, so I'm never going to be challenging that."
But the former president also says the swap sets a bad precedent, leading to perhaps more Americans taken hostage. Former President Trump's new November opponent, Vice President Harris, set a monthly fundraising record for a presidential campaign. She and the Democrats raked in $310 million, more than double the Trump July fundraising. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 74 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm Crystal Blue in the AM 560 newsroom. Chance for showers this morning, then turning partly cloudy with a high near 83. 2 people are dead following a 2-vehicle crash near Paxton. State police say a semi-truck not carrying a trailer collided with an SUV yesterday on Illinois Route 9 between Paxton and Rankin. The victims have not yet been identified. The crash remains under investigation. A convicted felon is charged in the killing of off-duty Cook County Sheriff's Deputy Raphael Wardlaw. Cordero Thompson faces multiple charges, including murder and attempted murder. Authorities say Wardlaw was coming to the aid of a friend when he was shot to death during an attempted robbery at a gas station on Chicago's South Side earlier this week. Thompson fired nearly 70 bullets during the incident. 1 person is hurt following a stabbing in Peoria. Police say a man was found stabbed last night near Livingston and Humboldt Streets. His injury is considered non-life-threatening. Officers are searching for a suspect. U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth is leading an effort to strengthen police accountability and transparency following last month's deadly shooting of Sonia Massey. The Hoffman Estates Democrat is leading a group of colleagues in reintroducing legislation that encourages improved training for police officers and the use of independent investigation and prosecution to eliminate inherent conflicts of interest. Duckworth's reintroduction of her Police Training and Independent Review Act comes after former Deputy Sean Grayson shot and killed Massey in her home on July 6th. Grayson is charged with murder in the incident. A man is going to prison for a long time for a deadly shooting last year outside a meat market in Rockford. William Jones was sentenced to 55 years behind bars this week. Police say Jones shot and killed Peggy Anderson while robbing her in a building that houses Pinion's Foods. The city of Peoria is offering a recycling, yard waste, and trash customer satisfaction survey to residents. The survey seeks to gather residents' satisfaction with the solid waste services provided by the city. The survey is available to all City of Peoria residents who use GFL's services. It's accessible on Peoria's website. News is a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. You can now enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer. Listen now at danandamy247.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Wall Street will be reacting today to the monthly employment report. Yesterday's sell-off is attributed to concerns the U.S. economy is slowing after interest rates on 10-year treasuries dipped below 4%. ExxonMobil says its drilling was at record levels in the recent quarter. Its earnings and revenue top forecasts. Chevron saw production up 11%, but its quarter was mixed. Also, Chevron is relocating its headquarters from San Ramon, California, outside San Francisco, to Houston, Texas. Chevron says top executives will move to Houston to better collaborate with executives, employees, and business partners. Chevron currently has 7,000 employees in the Houston area, approximately 2,000 in California. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
Dennis Prager sees the lies.
If the reason that he is not running is because he wants to pass the mantle on to youth, then why didn't he say that earlier? That's a lie. It's just a lie. It has nothing to do with his age. It has to do with his infirmity and the fact that he was forced out.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Experience a luxurious summer when you visit Trump International Hotel and Towers, Chicago, a Forbes Travel Guide 5-star hotel. Take in stunning views of the Chicago skyline from the heart of the city, steps away from the iconic Magnificent Mile and the revitalized Riverwalk. Treat yourself to exquisite dining at Terra 16 Restaurant and Rebar Lounge, overlooking the Chicago River and Lake Michigan. Catch the Navy Pier fireworks display from Terra 16's patio on Wednesdays and Saturdays all summer long. Relax in immaculately designed suites that offer the utmost level of comfort. Refresh in the state-of-the-art spa featuring a 75-foot swimming pool, steam and sauna rooms, relaxation lounge, and more. The Trump Hotel Chicago offers sophistication and elegance to downtown Chicago and is a convenient travel destination for your summer getaway. Simply visit Trump Chicago online to make your reservations today and search offers to find the never settle summer stay. Book today.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak taking a look at the roads. Still no troubles on the Edens, 18 minutes in from Lake Cook Road to Montrose. It's a 35-minute trip going in on the Kennedy from O'Hare into downtown, 30 back on out. Eisenhower also a half hour, 390 into downtown. Stevenson, 25 minutes, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, a 20-minute ride, 95th on in, Express are tight. 51st to the Stevenson. The Skyway 57 Ford all clear. DuSable Lakeshore Drive looks good. Tri-State northbound tight Roosevelt to the Eisenhower. Good news on the Jane Addams, no troubles. The Reagan is clear, as is the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Accident in Gurnee, Washington closed between Oak Plain and Greenleaf Avenue. Traffic is a service of the AM 560 store. Order t-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands, including Craft University and The Sean Thompson Show, when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, variable cloudiness and a stray thunderstorm. Humid day, high 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight, low 70. Sunshine, a hot day tomorrow, and the high at 90. And then partly sunny, hot Sunday, high once again 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. July jobs numbers are out, and job growth slowed in July. Hooray, says Jay Powell, because it makes it easier for him to cut rates next month, right? For more on this and matters economic generally, as the R word is being bandied about again, the prospect of a recession.
Thought we're already in one.
It depends who you ask, I suppose. For more on this, James Perry, founder, CIO, Perry International Capital Partners, joins us. Jim, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you.
Hey, it's great news. Jay Powell's finally getting what he wants, slow job growth.
That's exactly right. He's been talking pretty dovish for the last 3 months or 6 months. He's been wanting to cut rates. He hasn't been able to do it because inflation is still kind of running at 3%. And he's been talking about a more balanced labor market. And not only are we getting more balanced, it's beginning to really, really slow down fast. So the odds of a rate cut in September on the 18th are, 100%. So the market is looking at a slower economy, and the stock market doesn't seem to like it very much these last week or two. But the bond market's on fire. Bonds are rallying significantly. Long treasuries are at 380 today, down from 4.25.
What about that sell-off yesterday? What was that?
I think there's really a few top stories here, Dan, and I think it's all tied together. But, I did a podcast earlier in the week, and the big thing is that the political situation in this country, in Washington, is very chaotic. And there's a lot of money coming into this country from Europe, right?
Yeah.
Europe, Asia, Middle East. And those flows coming into this country are slowing down because people don't understand what American democracy is anymore. And I think if things settle down in Washington a little bit, I think the market will be a little bit less nervous, but it's kind of hard to see that happening before the election. So international flows into the country are slowing down. The market has gotten tremendously volatile. I read a piece this morning that said, when these companies are reporting these days, the average move in each individual stock, either up or down, depending on whether they outperform or underperform on their earnings, is 5% in a day, right? I mean, this is extraordinary volatility.
And some other sectors, we saw this big lots. I mentioned this the other day when we were talking to investment banker from New York, Chris Whalen. Big Lots, a retailer, is a big retailer, is now on the verge of bankruptcy, and there's some suggestion that that's a canary in the coal mine. You've also seen commodity prices pull back. We had layoffs at John Deere. So what I mean, the prospect you say is slowing down, and we've sort of been in this stagflationary environment, even though a lot of people don't want to describe it as such. So what is all of this under the umbrella of slowing down portend?
Right. Well, I think that, if you really look at the big picture here, the U.S. economy has been in the same state since the pandemic. And the fact is that, in 2021 into 22, commodity prices went up and demand went up because the pandemic shut down, and tremendous amount of consumer demand for a lot of things. And since then, prices have been cut, costs have gone up so much that retailers have to cut costs to match Amazon, and they can't do it. It's all about cutting costs. So the retail part of the U.S. economy has been trading horribly for a year and a half. And the only sector that's really moving the economy now is this AI industrial revolution led by NVIDIA,
Right.
And it's a little scary because there's a good writer at the Wall Street Journal, a guy named Dan Gallagher, who I don't know but have spoken with. He said today it's NVIDIA's world and everybody else just lives in it, and that's the truth. It's a really concentrated sector. It's a very concentrated growth area, and it's a very concentrated performance area in the market. So the market's been trading kind of sluggishly here for about a year and a half, and all of a sudden you get a number like this today, and people kind of go, oh, gee, that recession word really is a big word,
And And then, so thinking about all this investment flow into AI, and if that is sustained, NVIDIA's world, and we all live in it, as you just said. So then, are we ever going to see a resurgence of IPOs that are signals of a dynamic, innovative economy? I mean, the IPO market. Am I missing it? I'm not an expert. The IPO market has been virtually dormant since the pandemic, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. It's a real structural change in the economy. And to highlight your point, Dan, which is a very good one, if you look at the sector of the economy or the markets called the Russell 2000, these are the smallest listed stocks out there. Something like 35 or 40% of them don't make money. That's why it's been underperforming for 3 years, right? And if you look at the Russell 2000, these companies that go public, companies don't need to go public anymore. That's the point. There's so much private equity money out there, and there's so much private debt money out there that companies can talk to a venture capital group anywhere, and if it's a good idea, they can get money from those guys. So the IPO market, I think, really has changed permanently, right? I really don't think IPOs are going to be anything like they were in the last technology cycle. I think it's over. I do think mergers and acquisitions will keep coming, but that's the purview of the big investment banks. Big companies buying each other for 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 billion bucks. That's going on. But IPOs, I think small companies have better alternatives than to list their stocks on an exchange.
Wow. Do you think that would be different though if Trump wins the election?
I don't think the IPO market changes much with Trump. I mean, I've heard a lot, Amy, about this Trump trade, and I'm not sure what that means. I think it probably means a lot of different things to a lot of people. But I think if you look at a Trump presidency and policy, there's very few things for sure. One of them is tariffs against China are going to go up for sure. There's going to be more security at the southern border, probably more sanctions against Russia and Iran on illicit oil trading with China, and probably deregulation in the oil business and several others. But beyond that, that's about all you know. So I think, and even that, Trump can change his mind, and he doesn't have to say much until he gets elected, if he does. And we don't know what the Democratic platform is going to be either. So I think that, again, a lot of the volatility in the stock market is because there's so much uncertainty about what government policy is going to look like in 9 months or something.
What is the status of those gathering clouds we had talked about for many months that never seem to have brought any rain? I'm talking about commercial real estate with the walk away from office space, retail space in downtown areas where you have a lot of empty storefronts, and correspondingly sort of unrealized losses on the balance sheets of banks. Has that storm somehow passed?
That is a very good question. There was an article in Barron's yesterday, written by a fund manager in Switzerland who I know, and I can send you the article afterwards, but he was saying that he's really worried that the commercial real estate market is going to be the canary in the coal mine, and it's going to create a recession. He might be right. It's a very well-written article and research, but, the U.S. commercial real estate market is a $6.6 trillion market. And just to put that in perspective, U.S. real estate in the United States in total is worth $66 trillion, all right? Commercial is a tenth of that, right? $6 trillion. And half of that is owned by pensions and investment firms overseas. So the real exposure in the U.S. banking system for commercial real estate is $3 trillion. Now, if there's going to be a problem, I've heard $500 billion and $400 billion. If you just think about a $10 billion loan delinquency, which is what they're looking at right now, that's a pretty small number. 10% of $3 trillion is $300 billion, and 10% of that is $30 billion. So, I think the banking sector can manage that. I think there's a lot of things to be worried about. And I think, if all of my commercial real estate developer friends and clients are going to get mad at me for saying this, but, they have to walk away from some of these bad loans. The banks have to walk away with them, but the banks will restructure them, right? So I think it's going to take a lot longer to get to a stable level in commercial real estate, and it's certainly not coming now, and it's certainly not coming in the first year or so of the next presidency. But I don't believe that commercial real estate at the office level, anyway, is going to be what throws us into a recession. And I think retail is just adjusting from brick and mortar to fast delivery. So this, again, the economy is going through another layer of transformation, which people just have to get adjusted to.
What did you think about Trump's address at the Bitcoin conference, where he suggested openness, even sort of support for buying $70 million worth or $70 billion worth of Bitcoin as a strategic asset, as for government's purposes?
Right. Donald Trump is a populist, and he knows that the government would like to have a central bank digital currency. And he doesn't like Stephen Gensler, who runs the SEC and used to run the CFTC, the Futures Exchange. And the government would like to see a cashless, electronic, central bank digital currency. And Trump, the main thing that he said down there, and he said a lot of things, but the main thing he said is there will never be a central bank digital currency under my presidency. And that's probably the biggest deal. Oh, and he said he'd fire Gensler, by the way.
Yeah, so, that's a good idea, too.
Right. But the other thing he said is that, we would like to have a reserve of Bitcoin at the government level, just like we do gold. And that's an intriguing possibility. And I think the Bitcoin bulls loved it, right? I mean, Bitcoin was trading over 70,000 the other day. It's still 65. But the point is, I think that he's setting himself apart from the government as a what would you call it? I'm not a
well, so yeah, basically he's sort of the outsider that he's always positioned himself to be, right? It's like I get it. I get that you want to hedge against the federal government because you should want to hedge against the federal government because I don't trust it either.
Yeah, exactly. It's a populist stance. It's a good platform. It makes a lot of headlines, and he sets himself apart from a government that is big government, which, as you know, you and I have talked about this a lot, right? I mean, the Bitcoin investor really does have a libertarian streak in him, right? I don't trust the government. I don't trust the Fed. I don't trust the banking system, and I want to get my money. And I think Trump is just kind of tapping into that vein a little bit, and I think there is something to it. I think it's a different opinion than what is established in Washington.
All right, and before I let you go, we always appreciate that you are transparent about where you're investing your money, sort of the distribution of your portfolio, and I think that's always instructive that you put your money where your mouth is. So, what's your portfolio look like today? Any adjustments recently?
Yeah, that's a good question, and thanks for saying that. Yeah, I do believe that if you're going to be in the investment business and you're looking to grow your business, the best way to do it is through honesty and transparency. So I always say, if you know what I own, you know what I think, right? So my position in the portfolio has not changed that much in the last 3 months. It's about 50% cash equivalents, right? So T-bills at 535, 530, which is a good number on some money market stuff. And in the stock market, it's 40% stocks, which is a little bit underweight. And I'm a little bit more of a conservative investor than maybe a lot of people. But within that, I've got energy, defense, and high tech. And I think that, you have to have NVIDIA because, it's NVIDIA's world and everyone else is living in it. So I think that I've got some gold. I've got some big cap stocks, which I think I would like to buy more of if we get lower between now and the election, and I think we will. And I think you've got to just be a little bit patient and have some cash on hand and see if we can't pick up some of these great stocks at cheaper levels, in the weeks and months ahead.
All right, that should be instructive for Amy, who has all her money tied up in Chicago real estate and goldfish. So she needs to make some adjustments. Jim Perry, founder, CIO, Perry International Capital Partners. James, thanks as always.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you. Thanks, Amy. Have a good weekend.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Illinois and Wisconsin patriots, come out to the greatest Trump rally of 2024. Support President Trump and help save the American dream. Join thousands of great Americans as we rally for Trump on Sunday, August 18th, the day before the Democratic Convention, from noon to 6 at the McHenry County Fairgrounds. It's an afternoon of music, fun, and messages from many of President Trump's most trusted advisors and closest friends, including Charlie Kirk, General Flynn, Steve Moore, and Kimberly Fletcher of Moms for America. Your MCs for the event will be me, Gary Rabine, and Sean Thompson. There will be many surprises, more all-star speakers, and well-known music groups to come. Join us as we rally for President Trump at the McHenry County Fairgrounds on Sunday, August 18th from noon to 6. Get your tickets now at paradingfortrump.com. That's paradingfortrump.com. Profits go to efforts to elect Trump as our 47th president. Paid for by the American Dream PAC. Thank you to our sponsors, Rabine America and Peerless Fence.
AM 560. The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call it now! Open mic Friday!
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That time of the week, Open Mic Friday, taking your calls with comments, compliments, concerns, criticisms, general crack pottery. We'll take it all. And we begin, as we always do, with Turnkey.pro founder David Kolsak. By the way, Turnkey.pro number to call in, 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. Now we turn it over to Turnkey.pro's David Kolsak.
Well, good morning, Dan and Amy. I'm actually surprised that Brett Baer didn't call the state of Arizona for Kamala Harris in the last segment. I mean,
Zing.
God. Interesting. Anyway, it seems like another 6 weeks of news was crammed into a week, and how the hits keep coming. We're seeing so many different things happen, across our earth that it's hard to put them all together. It seems as if nothing makes sense, but at the same time, one could argue that all these events coming together are bringing us to a precipice of some sort. You've got the election in Venezuela, which by all accounts is another example of election fraud. And to begin with, I don't really know the election results of that, but it's easier to look at what we're being told and shown and reserve judgment for later. But the media, in the meantime, is painting Maduro, who won the race, supposedly as a bad guy who stole an election. But then you've got Maduro calling out the CIA and blaming them for the assassination of President Kennedy and the attempt on Donald Trump. Maduro also said, listen, man, I'm not making this up. I'm just reporting what they're saying.
Yeah, Oracle of Truth, Nicolas Maduro, yeah.
For sure. But now, on top of that, you've got Putin basically instructing Maduro to arrest and execute CIA-linked figures who are trying to overthrow his government. And then you've got the people of Venezuela toppling statues of Chavez that oddly reminds me to think of the time when the Iraqis toppled statues of Saddam Hussein. Remember how seeing all those images made us feel like the war in Iraq was worth it and the people were becoming free? I think one of the reasons the CIA overthrows puppet governments is to convince people that their voices have been heard, and it settles them down. It reinforces the idea that people have recaptured their autonomy. But all these things in Venezuela that are happening also mean that Maduro may not be controlled by the CIA. So there's one coup d'etat in process. You also see the United States finding itself embroiled in a very open, overt coup as the DNC and the deep state, including Obama, take down Biden and grant unilateral approval for Kamala Harris. Remember, you can count on one hand the amount of delegates Kamala won as long as that hand has no fingers. So that's 2 coups. Now, when you look at the Trump assassination attempt, you think about what the world would look like had the shooter or shooters missed. It's becoming increasingly difficult for the Secret Service to defend its position. It looks more like they were in on it, another coup attempt. And then you look at Iran, where the leader of Hamas was assassinated by airstrike, and then more airstrikes in Beirut, Lebanon, where Israel says that it eliminated Fuad Shakur, anyway, Hezbollah's most senior military commander. Lots of coups and assassination. Russia warned on Wednesday that the assassination in Iran of visiting Hamas leader through basically threatened a full conflict, a global conflict, as the terror group called it, a grave escalation. So anyway, Iran on Thursday raised their flag of revenge, basically indicating they're going to respond within 72 hours. So it sure sounds like all chambers are firing for a full-scale war. The military-industrial complex would like nothing more than that. So if you look at what General Mike Flynn said this week, he said in the last 24 hours, never mind understanding who or what entities are behind the assassination attempt on PJT, that still remains clear. It tells you all you need to know about warfare. Warfare is unfair. We're entering a new phase globally, and the stakes were just raised another 10 notches. Retaliation is never equal in warfare. Conventional is unconventional, and yet the thinking in this administration is anything but. Americans need to prepare for entering an even more dangerous, uncharted waters. I'm sorry, but things are not normal as much as they pray they were. This administration has allowed the creation of a completely chaotic global environment. So anyway, when you connect all this together, it's clear that war is what they want and that Armageddon is knocking on the door. We can all sit back and cower at the thought of World War III, or we can choose to not live in fear. So once you start seeing how many lies we've been told throughout our lives, it's really tough. I mean, we're all taught by society that we do good in school, we go to college, we get a job, we get married, we have kids. It's like a roadmap that they all teach us to follow. But then many times along the way, we get disenchanted and we feel lost, like we lost our way. And I think collectively, all these events these days make us feel even more confused and tired. But look, we're all put into this world by God, no treasure map, no compass, no nothing, and we've got to figure it out. Some days are great, sunny, beautiful days where birds are chirping and you're full of bliss, and others are stormy, terrible days that the wind is howling and the clouds are thick and gray. And the good news is that storms don't last forever. Life's hard, but we're all in this together. So we're all lost to some degree, some more than others. Some people think they've got it all figured out, but that's more of a frame of mind than a reality. So some people have faith in God, which I do, and that makes it easier to cope with the world right now. So instead of focusing on the negative and the idea that we're approaching World War III or some sort of precipice, we're all coping together and we're in this together. So give yourself a break. Don't take yourself too seriously. Try to look at positive things in your life and focus on what you can control and the people you can love and encourage. All we can do is look forward to today and think a little bit about tomorrow. Stay present, but we're all in this journey together, and possibly the most interesting time to be alive. So thank God for that. We all should. Mm-hmm. So live simply, think deeply, work hard, fight fairly, laugh loudly, be generous, love deeply, and encourage your children. Praise God, have a purpose, and rescue your dreams. Question everything, Dan. And that's why we have to do this way, and that's my message of hope for today. So
and hug your neighbor. All right.
David Kolsak's Life's Little Instruction book there. Thank you for that, David.
That
I thought he was going to break out into Fleetwood Mac, Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow, or Little Orphan Annie, one of the two. Wow. All right. That took an interesting turn. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line on this Open Mic Friday. Yeah.
We'd like to publicly thank and commend Simone Biles for winning the all-around gold.
Oh, yeah. It's a good thing Jonathan Owens, her husband, was allowed to go watch his wife become the oldest all-around gold medalist, despite the fact that Amy had wanted him barred from attending the Olympics.
Well, I take practice. Yes, it's practice very seriously. And I thought they're going to let him go to France to, skip out. Like, they had a preseason game last night, don't you know? He missed that, and he missed, practice earlier in the week. But now I understand why they did it. It was a great American moment. She's 27-year-old, and she's the oldest woman in 72 years, to win the all-around title. So the GOAT is
oldest
back.
woman in the modern era, let's say.
Yeah, so congratulations to her.
Yeah, and Jonathan Owens, congratulations on being able to see it.
Yes.
Live and in person.
It was sweet when he gave her a hug after she got off the medals platform.
Ralph and Wilmette, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys. You remember on Monday we got the message from the White Women for Kamala with the SpaghettiOs routine. It was surprising to me that they spent that much effort to go after the EPICAC vote.
Thanks for the call.
Oh, by the way, 200,000 white women for Kamala tuned into
which
that
is,
Zoom call.
that's nothing.
I know. What?
It's not a big deal.
Because I misspoke. I said a million.
It's 2 millions, right? And there
it
was 75,000 blacks against Kamala on their Zoom call that Dom Lucre organized apparently in 24 hours. So, I mean, I said again, I all this is feeling like because they're wall to wall coverage with Kamala and trying to Obama-ize her. On T-shirts and so forth. The soaring intellectual figure that's going to unite the country with her winning smile and so on and so forth. She's a woman of the people and all this business. There's a lot of people who have the drop on her, too. So,
well, hopefully it'll start coming out. And in case you miss it, this is just 15 seconds. This is Kamala for the first time in 12 days where she is not scripted and she is answering a question. And the question was, how do you feel?
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day.
Yeah, president who understands the importance of diplomacy by understanding the importance of diplomacy.
You think that's going to sell on a world stage?
On the Department of Redundancy Department. A text on that topic we got from 753. What's with all the celebration, effectively? Both Whelan and Gershkovich are convicted felons, just like Trump.
Oh, hey-oh.
Right? What's the
But Gershkovich, on the way, am I pronouncing his name correctly?
Gershkovich.
On his way out, he had to sign a prisoner release form, and there was a comment section. He put in the comment section, yes, I'd like to interview President Putin, then put his cell phone number down.
That's great. Funny.
I mean, that is so brilliant.
That's good.
Good for him.
No, obviously glad they're released. Although, as
Trump,
as Trump said, we exchanged with the help of Germany Putin's favorite assassin,
right?
Just like we exchanged the Lord of War for a WNBA player, Victor Bout for Brittany Griner. Yeah, I mean, the precedent setting isn't great, although, of course, you're happy to see those people released, those Americans released and returned home.
It brought Jake Sullivan to tears.
Yeah.
Jake.
Crocodile. No.
It's
Rick in Downers Grove.
Hey, good morning. Good show. Hey, I was thinking about an opening for the Democrat National Convention coming up, and being it's in Chicago, they should have Pritzker as Ringmaster Ned and BLM Brandon as Bozo the Clown. And when that show's ready to start, Pritzker, Ringmaster Ned blows his whistle, says Bozo Circus is on the air. The Bozo band starts playing the march, and Brandon Johnson starts beating his drum across the stage as all the Democrat delegates follow behind, with their empty blank look on their face.
I think, thanks for the call, Rick. I think BLM Brandon was auditioning for his speaking role at the convention, maybe trying to get a more attractive slot with his response to Trump's comments before the National Association of Black Journalists yesterday.
But he ran into blackness, and he felt it. He felt the heat, the unconditional love, the masterpiece of the black woman that only an amazing God can take an Indian and a Jamaican and create somebody in his image, a black woman.
He ran into blackness. He felt the heat, the unconditional love of the black woman. Right. ABC News' Rachel Scott saying, you're a racist, please respond. The unconditional, it was a beautiful moment.
Oh, yeah.
I could
watch that every day, Trump putting her in her place. No, hello, how are you? Thanks for coming.
Oh, boy.
Oh, and speaking of the convention, by the way, in case, because I don't know if you have a media credential, but the Dems are giving credentials away to more than 200 influencers To give them access to cover the convention.
Yeah, so what? That's nothing new. Kevin, Austin, Texas.
Good morning. I was just going to comment on your thing about the right going the left going after J.D. Vance. Now, if Trump put up Jesus Christ, they would complain that he's a religious extremist that had vandalized the temple. Doesn't matter who they're going to put up; they're going to go after him.
Of course.
And then I have a suggestion for bumper music for Kamala Harris, if I would.
What?
I think it should be Culture Club.
Comma chameleon.
Comma chameleon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I think Trump is going. Isn't he starting to call her Kamala Chameleon?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, I think he's going full Boy George, and it's
perfect.
It's perfect for the culture too, because Boy George is a drag queen.
Yeah, I mean, it
So
works
it's
out
perfect.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punches
and
on
then and also call him a faker around the Democratic election. Wasn't that what the dailies were supposed to be yelling? Faker, faker, faker. Do you remember that in the '68 convention?
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Kevin. Steve, Northwest Side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, I wanted to comment about last week's interview with James Gagliano. I know him. I'm familiar with him. He's a good guy, but I think he was a little defensive or protective about Christopher Wray when you did that interview. It was a good interview on your part. But the other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is another book written by, you reviewed Tom Baker's book, a guy by the name of John Ligato, Ligato. He's a retired FBI agent. The book is called The Comey Gang. It lays out everything that has gone wrong with the FBI, and he just lambasts James Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Lisa Page, all of these guys, and tells us how this happened. And one of his big complaints about the FBI now is Obama merged the FBI with the DOJ, and that's a problem. The FBI is no longer an independent investigative agency, and that's why you're seeing them doing things that they're doing. I just thought you might be interested in that book. It's really good.
Well, thanks for that, Steve. Appreciate that. Always enjoy a good book or movie recommendation or TV show recommendation. Rich, Indian Head Park.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. What I'd like to say is it doesn't make any sense that there's a lot of people in this country that are willing to vote for a president solely on their skin color and their gender, and not vote for a president who has policies that's going to make the country better for everyone. Now, Harris has been lying along with Biden for the last 3.5 years. At least we know Trump has been saying things that he means, and even though people don't like it, he still continues to say what he's going to do to make the country better. She has not said one thing how she's going to make this country better. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for the call, Rich. Glenn in Orlando.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. Good show. So in terms of democracy, if I was Trump, I would ask the question, how did Kamala get the nod with 0 votes?
Yeah, I hear you. We addressed that. Thanks for the call, Glenn. We addressed that a bit earlier in the show. I don't think that's... Look, it's up to the party. So these are functions. The party controls the process by which they select their nominee. So, the process was what it was until it wasn't, which is the Machiavellian nature of that Democrat Socialist Party that the new Bolsheviks are in charge of. The issue with the move of from Biden to Kamala, if there is one, is just the fact that, again, she's a phony. She was out there serving as the Kremlin spokesman, just like KJP. So she was lying to you. She's this whole thing, the karma chameleon. I'd say more phony. She is a profligate liar, frankly, going all the way back to her origin story, a la Joe Biden's, of freedom. The whole thing, the whole Kamala persona that is being manufactured now is fiction. It's fiction. All she is a cipher for the new Bolsheviks, and all she will do is their bidding. It's an extension of what Joe Biden was, the company man for wherever the party is at the latest point in time, combined with a cackle. That's what you got. Kevin, Ogden Dunes. Oh, the Prime Minister, who is at his vacation home in Ogden Dunes, Indiana.
Hello, Prime Minister.
May I address the elephant weighing on the room of the minds of J.D. Advance, Heather McDonald, and each of your listeners?
Please.
They dial in each morning in awe of your highbrow analysis. It provides them free education. Yet, as we are schooled, we're sad that the soaring prof IQ is not married and manufacturing multiple toddler hooligans bouncing on those knees growing creakier by the day. I myself was married by a judge. Should have asked for a jury. But by a margin of 8-1, Morning Answer listeners want you to have kids. You can train them to be president or at least to replace Tucker Carlson. To that end, in this post-Weinstein era of Me Too, I've lined up for you the most tantalizing temptress, the most captivating charmer, priced to entice, a delicious lady who'd whet the appetite of any red-blooded male boxer of the biological variety. I met up with her in Milwaukee running around the RNC. No, the director does not have an Amy-like body, the type that makes men drive up on sidewalks, but she does have connections. She possesses that seductive, open mouth, trance-like, puzzled look of a world-class way of dodging congressional inquisitors. When I showed her an airbrush picture of Professor Prof, her cheeselness snorted with glee, the way Amy does. Imagine, Dan, hearing the pitter-patter of baby Secret Service Cheetles. You could spawn a whole new breed of humans, the Cheetle Props. What do you say?
I'll take that under advisement, PM. Thank you for the call. Yeah, oh yeah. Kim Cheadle, she's a childless cat lady.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And she's got a lot of free time on her hands these days.
She does.
Yeah.
She's spending more time with her family, Dan. But
does
her family want to spend more time with her?
Yeah, that's a hard pass for me after not too much consideration, but I appreciate it there, PM. Ruth and Elgin. You're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
The name Ruth.
Hi. I was calling about them calling J.D. Vance weird.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say, okay, I'm wise, I'm exceptional, I'm iconic, resilient, and dynamic.
There you go. You turned it into an acronym.
Very nice. Thank you. Very good, Ruth. Weird. Oh yeah, weird. Unique. You know, it's the old like you're weird if you're poor, you're eccentric if you're rich.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe eccentric.
Never heard that. Weird if you're poor.
Yeah, if you're poor, you're weird. I mean, if you're poor and you're poor and you're eccentric, it's called weird.
Oh.
But if you're rich and you're weird, it's called eccentric. Okay. You know, he has these affectations, but he's a wealthy man, and so it's all very interesting. It makes him...
Are you talking about yourself again?
A little bit. Bob and Wilmette.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Did I just hear a little while ago BLM Brandon refer to Kamala Harris as a masterpiece? Was that right?
The masterpiece of the black woman. Oh, yeah. Yes, masterpiece, because God took a Jamaican man and a Indian woman and created the masterpiece that is Kamala. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure. And, you know, we're fortunate if she is still considering Jelly Belly for the vice president nod.
She is.
We could call that the toes ticket. Camel toe and he who can't see his toes. I think that's got a ring to it.
That's a big stretch there, buddy. Ooh. Woo. I think he's been working on that one all morning long.
Kamala toe.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Steve in his car.
Hey, Dan, Amy, thanks for having me on. Great show as always. Dan, at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that Trump should keep leading into what happened at the press conference, and I got to tell you, that's the wrong move. I know you keep thinking that's going to be a plan, but you of all people should know leading into racial politics will never work out for your candidate.
No, I don't agree with that. I think it's how you do it, but you can't run from it. That's my point. I'm not saying that this is central to it, but what I said yesterday is that he instigates a conversation about this, where a lot of people that you may not expect who have the drop on Kamala come out and say, he's got a point, that she is a phony, and that she does have sort of revolving identities she uses for political purposes, not just as a sort of matter of fact, this is my heritage and I'm proud of it kind of thing.
Well, why she's black? Come out and say I'm black.
Well,
Because
whatever.
her dad.
Whatever. That it's not, the point is that right. They can play racial politics. They can use race as a cudgel, and we're supposed to, we of all races. I'm not talking about we white. We of all races. The race hustlers can use race as a cudgel. The identitarians can use race and sexual identity as a cudgel. And we're just supposed to stand there and get beaten about the head and neck area with it when we know it's a hustle? No. You expose the hustle. You push back. You don't run from it. That's my point. And I think that people are really tired of every ill in the world being blamed on systemic racism, and it's all, the conservative hetero honkies' fault. I just think people aren't buying that. And I think a lot of people, even if you don't fit into the conservative hetero honky camp, look at that and say, come on. You are the master of your own fate. Things should be done on a meritocratic basis, or mostly meritocratic basis. People are willing to give a little bit on the margins. That this is unfairness, it's unreasonableness, it leads to unkindness. This is not how I interact with people of different races or walks of life on a daily basis. The America they're describing is not an America I know. I think there's a lot of that out there. But in order to remind people that that's the case, you have to push back, not just sit there and take it. And that's what Trump did at that Black Journalist Convention. And doesn't bother me at all. Not worried about it at all. I think it was a fair play, and I think he shouldn't relent on it at all. And I know, just by his nature, as we all do, that he's not going to. Owen in Willowbrook.
Hi, Dan and Amy. Hey, after that Kamala has been accused of being a DEI hire after Joe Biden touted it, and then they seem to have run away from it. Would you say that the Democrats really don't think that those policies are weird but phony?
Thanks for the call, Owen. Perry and Niles.
Oh, good morning. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I did it anyway. No sports metaphors, except only for Dan.
When it comes
could
to
I
politics,
could I try to be the exception to the rule?
All right, we'll give you a special dispensation. Go ahead, Perry.
Oh, thank you. The people on her short list for VP, they all want to be part of the team, but they're all the right fielder in Little League saying, "Don't hit it to me. Don't hit it to me. Please, don't hit it to me."
All right, thanks, Perry. Tom Meredith in Bloomingdale.
Hey, Dan and Amy, thanks for having me on. I just want to tell you guys about our event Sunday, August 18th at the McHenry County Fairgrounds. We're doing another rally for Trump. This one's going to be the biggest one of the year. We got Charlie Kirk, General Flynn, Roger Stone, Mike Lindell, Steve Moore, Jaco Boyens, and many, many more. We got a concert going on with Thompson Square. It's going to be a great event. If people can go to www.paradingfortrump.com, check out the event, buy the ticket. It's going to be a great, great time. Hope to see you guys there.
Paradingfortrump.com, and the date and time and place again?
Sure. Sunday, August 18th, 12 to 6. Doors open at 9:30, and at the McHenry County Fairgrounds.
All right, very good. Paradingfortrump.com. Thanks, Tom. It should be a well-attended affair. Give Illinoisans something to do in terms of political engagement, since they don't have a Republican Party. Dawn in Naperville.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I thought one takeaway from what Brett Baer had said was that he hasn't been able to have access to Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. I thought that was really interesting, in contrast to the news of Trump showing up to the Black Journalist Convention. You know, no matter what you say, at least he is willing to show up with others who disagree with him. I think that shows a lot about his character. But one thing I will say, I don't think he should get caught in the weeds with the name calling. You keep your campaign on what Kamala Harris does not want to talk about: accountability and education. You want to talk about leveling the playing field. It starts with accountability in our education system. Starts with helping children developing the skills. And I guarantee you, Kamala Harris does not want anything to do with that subject. And then once we have children who have the skills, you're going to see them be able to have access to good education and post-secondary schools. And then that's going to help the economy. So he needs to focus on two things: education and economy. Here's what I'm going to do to lower interest rates. Here's what I'm going to do to lower your grocery store bill at the gas pump. He has to stay on those two issues. Don't get caught in the weeds, President Trump. Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn.
Clean.
Keep it clean.
That's what I say.
Yeah, it's just,
But
you
I
know,
don't know if that's possible.
the invective and the name calling. It's just part of it. I mean, I wouldn't get too hung up on it. Name calling has been attendant to politics forever. It's not always your best foot forward. I get it, but
like Trump called me this. Well, yeah, you're running against him, woman.
Right. I mean,
what happens?
right.
Not doing it because you're a woman or because whatever heritage you are.
Right. They're so offended by it. They're so offended when Trump, Hitler, Stalin, Pol Pot calls anybody a name. But when their name calling is the truth and our name calling isn't the truth, it's just it sort of, all washes out. So I agree with you. I wouldn't obsess about it, but I also wouldn't get too worked up when there are forays into the ad hominem.
Got a text message. Some people can't get through. Dan, the left created DEI. The left uses DEI, but the left doesn't want you to believe it's how some people got their job.
Yeah, they're offended when DEI produces the desired outcome. I mean, it's just fascinating to watch. Philip in Concordia, Missouri.
Good morning, Dan. Love your show. I'd like to remind everyone that the Democrats do not like the 50 states in the union. They want federal takeover of all 50 states. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Philip. They definitely are central planning oriented, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Always good chatting with you. Here's my comment. Where are the rhinos and the never Trumpers? Will they be offering any comments taking sides, like Romney, the Bushes, Cheney, Kinzinger, Christie? Will they sit out this election?
Well, I saw Pierre Delecto hanging out with Celine Dion in Paris.
Oh.
Yeah. So maybe he's going to
brought the Olympics to Salt Lake City, to Utah back in the day.
Well, maybe he's going to move to France and run for office there.
I think
he's exhausted.
The IOC.
He's exhausted his circumnavigating this country to find places he could run for office. So maybe France. I haven't heard. Well, I mean, they still have the same posture, the Christies and the Kinzingers and such of the world, but they're irrelevant. They're irrelevant. They're just filler for CNN. Yeah. Chuck in Delavan, Wisconsin.
Woohoo, Chuck.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks.
Oh no, the Munchkin phone.
Oh no. Well, we'll keep going. Thanks for mentioning my name, my garage band combined with a cackle. 11 days till the primary here in Wisconsin. 12 days till your exclusive interview with me on the 13th of August when I win.
Nice.
And I'll be in Madison today speaking, and I'll be at the State Fair tomorrow in West Dallas. Thanks for letting me be on.
All right, sorry about the Munchkin line there. It's still a technical workshop around here. All right.
Anything you'd like to close it out with, Mr. Proft?
I mean, how about that Top Dog Law Firm? I mean, seriously. We played some of these spots before. And
do you have another one?
Just
because then I started watching them on YouTube. Now I can't stop watching.
Remember, there is no material. There's very little material difference. Very little material difference between these polished up trailers like a Kevin Conway, these financiers of the new Bolsheviks, and these ghetto legal hustlers.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Each person's recovery depends on the facts and laws of each client's case.
I believe in life. Everything is pre-written. That accident you got into, best believe that was pre-written. See, from the day you was born, you was going to get into that accident. And you was going to...
You were going to get into that accident, and you were going to hire Top Dog Law Firm to cash you out. Amazing.
9 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
Rising unemployment has stocks falling. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The market down big a second straight day over economic concerns. The Dow losing 450 points after the July report with fewer jobs than expected and higher unemployment.
The number of new jobs created slowed to 114,000 last month. Economists were forecasting 175,000. The unemployment rate rose to 4.3%, but has risen from 3.4% early last year.
That's Fox's Ginny Casola. President Biden just put out a statement touting that average unemployment's been lower than at any time in 50 years, saying employment is growing more gradually as inflation declines significantly. 3 American prisoners freed from Russia are now in Texas to be medically evaluated, including Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich.
What about the show of support? It's